Alrighty then, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome, one and all. Why is it so dark? Because I haven't blinded myself with my lights. That is why. Tis the truth of what has happened. Hello, greetings and salutations. My name is Michael. I'm the Diddlesy Gamer, and welcome to Dag Reads. Dag Reads is where Dag proves that he is indeed literate. And we are going to be sitting down today and reading Pathfinder's newest addition to the rule set, Player Core 2. Now, as always, we're going to cover a little bit about what Player Core is, starting, of course, with the fact that Pathfinder, or Paizo, originally had the Pathfinder 2nd Edition launch, which had a bunch of the stuff that people were very excited about, but then there was the OGL debacle, which, for those of you who do know, involved Wizards of the Coast and a bunch of lawsuits involving things that may or may not have been vulnerable due to copyright infringement or new licensing agreements and yada yada yada. Not copyright infringement, but you know what I mean. It was a long thing, and we don't need to go into it. But in order to keep themselves safe, Paizo made a re-release of Pathfinder 2nd Edition entitled Remastered. And that is what they did. They took away a bunch of the stuff that was originally attached to the old Dungeons and Dragons materials, because for those of you who don't know, Paizo Pathfinder, was inspired by D&D 3.5, but went on its own journey. So Player Core 2 is the second player book from the remastered edition. Now, what does this mean? Why is this all a bunch of gobbledygook? Well, quite frankly, if you want to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, know that you can play with the original stuff as well as the remastered stuff. They are completely interchangeable. The only thing you'll find is that some of the stuff that existed in the previous edition may have a rewording in the remastered version. For example, Magic Missile is no longer Magic Missile. It is now Force Missile, for example. If you had... for example, attacks of opportunity, you now have reactive strikes instead of flanking. You have off guard. Just little terminology changes, but in effect, they do the same thing, and they are interchangeable. So there. The Player Core 2 covers a bunch of new races, new classes, and we've been working our way through to try and just basically read through it. I am reading it with you guys, so this is also kind of like a first contact thing for myself as well, and yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. Now, again, for those of you who haven't been on my channel before, we are very candid. We chat with the audience. So as I'm reading this and as we're going, just let me know if there's something you'd like me to focus on, something to talk about. I actually do want to give a special mention to someone who posted something on my YouTube channel, actually, which is weird because my YouTube channel is just where I store my shit. So if anyone finds it there, yay! Hi YouTubers. But they mentioned something from an earlier video regarding lizard folk, and I thought it was quite an interesting thing, and I just wanted to talk about it really quickly. And that is lizard folk having an intelligence penalty. Which is a remnant of like lizard folk, of course, being very tribal, very nomadic, very xenophobic, a lot of little elements that existed there. And it's like, well, why is that still the same? Despite the changes for lizard folk to now more of a traditionalist kind of culture of people who are using the lessons of the past in order to forge a new way in the future, why do they still have an intelligence penalty? And I thought it was a very interesting question because ultimately, one of the reasons why race was taken away as a term instead of ancestry was because when we start looking at flaws for different people, different characters, you start to look at the flaws being a commentary on that race itself, So if your character has a low intelligence because you are born with low intelligence, that implies the character is just stupid or, yada yada. But that's not the case. And I wanted to kind of take a moment here to talk about that because, first of all, a -1, which is the flaw to an intelligence, does not make anyone dumb. A -1 does not do anything in regards to that. As far as I'm concerned, you aren't really dumb until you're broaching like -3s. And then you're kind of looking at animal intelligence. And yeah, okay, fair enough. But what it means to me, if you have a flaw, doesn't matter what the flaw is, right? even if that flaw is from your ancestry, that is okay, because not everyone is going to be on the same journey. Not everyone is going to have as easy time doing what it is you want to do. There are some people who are going to have that level of privilege. Some people who are, like, for example, gnomes and illusion magic, who are going to have, by the sheer nature of their ancestry, a privilege to them that other people won't. Pardon me, sorry. Oh, I gotta get a tissue in a second. But yeah, and the thing is it's not as if lizard folk don't have their own specialities and skills. But the thing is to not focus on the flaws representing an inherent lacking in an ancestry, but instead we need to look at it as an opportunity for us as players to explore the idea and the notion that we are going to overcome a challenge. We are going to overcome the expectation. We are not expecting a lizard folk wizard. Why aren't we expecting that? Well, because how many giant towers with academic libraries are going to be in the swamps? Very few. How many lizard folk who are a traditional and time-honored, ancestry-based culture going to go and try to join a group of people who are at the forefront of innovation through magic? You know, these things are not restrictions. They're challenges. And overcoming those challenges is just amazing and fun. I'm going to get a tissue. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. It is quite chilly in the good old Australia. And yeah, so my nose is like doing that chilled sneezy thing. So yeah. So that was my thought on it, and I wanted to share that just before we started with today's reading, just because I love people who challenge my ideas. I love people who... I'm not wearing shorts, I'm wearing long pants. Fucking... Swear to God, wear shorts one day because you can't find your fucking pants and you just can't... It's fine, whatever. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is... yes, flaws like that are challenges. A -1 to a stat does not define any kind of character, any kind of race. Doesn't matter who it happens to be. So, yeah, just remember that. Just remember that. If you go into it, challenge those things. Like, find those ideals. Like, things you don't expect. A peaceful, evangelist, diplomat, hobgoblin. You know, do it. Have fun. Enjoy these things. Play those things that are going to challenge perceptions. I don't like the idea that everything should be made so that anyone could be anything, because when everyone is special, no one is. You know, that's just how I've always felt. I like challenging and subverting expectations. Those of you who've seen me roleplay know that I do it all the time. I will say that, cool, my character's a warlock, but guess what? I'm super well-rounded, very, very happy. I do have parental issues because, yeah, warlock. Frickin' Duke. But I can pretend to be a wizard for 90% of the game. That's always fun for me. So, maybe it is for some people, maybe it isn't. Who knows? Okay. What are you doing? What are you talking about? Well, I'm going to read this now, Cass. Are you allowed to do Tripper chat naked? You hate that you asked it there. So I take that as a yes. We do not use video unless the guests, so sure. Khan has me frightened. Yes. Bear in mind, technically, Cass, you are HR, and to show up to work with no clothes on, even during the pandemic, was considered a form of sexual harassment. Just putting that out there. Frickin' Khan. Anyway, the weirdest shit happens in my chats. But yes, if you guys wish to, you may go and discuss your Tripper chat stuff elsewhere. For this is the Dead Aussie Gamer channel. And we are about to discuss the player core. So let's get into it. Alright, so the Investigator. What is the Investigator? Now, the original Investigator for Pathfinder 1st Edition and 2nd Edition was a character who specialized in noticing the subtle details in the world. They were, by the nature of their name, investigators. They looked into noticing those little things here and there. They got extra bonuses for that, and they also got a chance to twist, I guess, the investigation to benefit them, studying a target to learn its weaknesses and gaining an upper hand. I love these guys because it's almost as if Paizo turned around and went, what if our players aren't good at puzzles? What if they just can't solve shit? And they went, I know what we'll do. An Investigator. That'll do it. So, there we go. Is Investigator a rogue subclass in Pathfinder 2? Yes, originally it was as well. I don't know if it is in 2nd edition. I haven't come across it because, again, yeah, I don't have the book here. I was going to say, if the book is here, I can just look, but no. But yeah, the Investigator has been a rogue subclass before, yes. But this one acts and functions very, very differently. The Investigator in the rogue category was more akin to a trap finder and someone who finds little clues and stuff versus this thing here, which is about analyzing clues. So, little difference, but yeah. All right, let's take a read. Boom, 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 boom. I should probably have done it this way. Why are you being difficult? One moment. Okay. Actual size, fit to page, single, full screen. There we go. Okay. So, the Investigator. Key attribute is intelligence, which makes perfect sense. 8 plus modifier for the hit points. So it's what you expect from most of the mid-ranged classes here. Expert in perception, expected. Reflex and will being their expertise, also expected. Trained in society, which is your understanding of the world around you and society around you. And 4+ intelligence, pretty decent. Trained in simple and martial weapons and unarmed attacks. Trained in light armor and unarmored. Makes sense too. Alright, cool. So that looks pretty straightforward. Let's read the Investigator. I forgot to read it first. I was going to read it first and then I was like, oh, dang, I skipped it. Okay, here we go. Music! Alright. The Investigator. You seek to uncover the truth, doggedly pursuing leads to reveal the plots of devious villains, discover ancient secrets, or unravel other mysteries. Your analytical mind quickly formulates solutions to complicated problems, and your honed senses identify even the most obscure clues. Wielding knowledge as a weapon, you study the creatures and dangers you encounter to exploit their weakness. Ooh. Yay. Alright. So there it is. That's pretty much what I said. Alright, once again, as we look at the table here, a lot of the stuff is stuff that is interchangeable to all classes, because everything has a shared progression, except for, the class features and feats, so that's what we're going to be looking at. Attribute boosts and skill boosts and blah, blah, blah. They'll all be there. Okay. Let's see. On the case, as an investigator, think of your adventures as a case waiting to be solved. You gain 1 activity and 1 reaction you can use to investigate a case. Pursue a lead and clue in. Alright, interesting. You name a detail you've identified. Sorry, this is pursue a lead. Pursue a lead. You name 1 detail you've identified that you think is part of a larger mystery, then spend a minute examining it. The detail is typically either obvious or something you've already discovered using recall knowledge, sense motive, gather information, or a similar action. After the minute has passed, the GM either confirms there is a larger mystery or tells you there is nothing more to learn. If there is in fact a larger mystery at play, you can't pursue the lead again for 10 minutes, but you can choose to open an investigation. To do so, define the question at heart of the mystery, such as where has the priceless art of work been supposed to be hanging, or who or what killed the priest. Work with your GM to refine the question if need be. You can also give your investigator a name to better keep track of it. Oh, you can also give your investigation a name to keep track of it. The case of the cheated goblin, the skin saw murders. Okay. Investigation bonus. When you attempt a perception check or skill to get closer to answering the question at heart, you gain a circumstance bonus. Cool. I like that. Active investigations. You can maintain 2 active investigations at a time. If you pursue another lead, the case must be different from your current one, and you give up on your current investigation. Okay, solve an investigation. If you answer the question to heart, the GM tells you you've done so. You do not lose the bonus or other benefits until you voluntarily close the investigation by pursuing a different lead or voluntarily dismissing it. If what you discover is a larger mystery, you can work with the DM to adapt your question and the name of the investigation based on the new information. Okay, that's super dope. That is super dope. I was about to say the normal thing for investigation to have a name. No, investigators definitely have a name. I just have bad reading skills. Okay, so I do love that, because I guess whenever I've played an investigator or seen an investigator played, it's never been as an investigator with a case. Take Quinn, for example. It's very hard because when Quinn is in the game, which is fine, and I love Quinn, don't get me wrong, like in Curse of the Crimson Throne. Quinn is someone who analyzes what they're doing at any given time. But there's never really been a case for them to crack or a puzzle for them to solve that they have been investigating. But I like the idea of this because it changes that mentality quite a lot. Even that bit where it's like, for example, the curious case of Kazavron's conquest. I love the alliteration there. But it could be like, go and speak to the Shawantes, find out what Kazavron's are. And it's sort of, even if it's the same quest, it gives it that detective vibe. And I love that. I love that it actually gives that detective vibe. And that she gets bonuses for having investigated that very thing. So, yeah, I mean, all straight up, I think that first ability turns an investigator from being just a puzzle-solving rogue, I guess, into an actual investigator with an investigation skill. Yeah, riddle smashing, problem solving, yeah, tons of stuff. Reaction to clue in, once per 10 minutes. Another creature attempts a check that could help you get closer to the answer at heart on one of your active investigations. You share information with the triggering creature. They gain a circumstance bonus check equal to your investigation from pursue a lead. The GM can add any relevant traits to this reaction depending on the situation, such as audio-linguistic if you're conveying information verbally. Okay, cool. So you can, as a reaction, share that investigation knowledge. Makes sense? Yeah, cool. Like it. Devise a stratagem. Now, devise a stratagem is one of the primary abilities currently in the Investigator. Originally, it worked as I roll a d20, and that result is what I will roll next to attack you. That was the original one. So let's find out how that's changed. Drink my juice. Oh, if you're horrible at riddles, I always tell people this. If your character is solving a riddle, and you are an intelligence character, but you aren't good at riddles, ask your GM for an intelligence check for a clue. Because, just because you're not good at riddles, doesn't mean your character won't be. And, if you don't ask a barbarian for push-ups every time they make an athletics check, makes no sense to try and figure out puzzles on your own when your character's got an intelligence of like 20, 25. That's just it. Alright. Devise a stratagem. You can play out a battle in your head using your brain rather than brawn to execute an attack. So this is kind of like that Sherlock Holmes thing with Robert Downey Jr., like left knee, slightly weak. Attack with haymaker. Then rise. Discombobulate. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Frequency, once per round as a standard or a free action. Interesting. You access a foe's weakness in combat and use it to formulate a plan. Choose a creature you could see. You could devise a stratagem as a free action if you were aware that creature could help answer the questions at the heart of your investigation. Oh, cool. Oh, so there's another bonus to that. So if you are on an investigation and that creature is something that can help you answer your question, devise a stratagem is free action instead of a standard action. That's dope. That's actually a really good benefit. Roll a d20, then decide on attack or stratagem. Attack stratagem. If you choose to strike the creature at the start of your next turn, you must use the result of the d20 for your next strike instead of rolling. You make the substitution only for the first strike against the creature, not any subsequent ones. You can add your intelligence modifier to your attack roll instead of your strength or dex, provided you strike with an agile or finesse weapon. An agile or finesse unarmed attack, a ranged weapon, which must be agile finesse if it's a melee weapon with a thrown trait, or a sap. Okay. So that fundamentally works precisely how Devise a Stratagem already works. Skill Stratagem. You can't attempt to strike the target until the start of your next turn. You get a 1 circumstance bonus to your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma checks or perception checks involving the target before the start of your next investigation, your next turn. If you would gain pursue a lead investigation bonus on a check, that increases by 1 instead. So, devise a stratagem sounds to me like you could do things like talking to people with a diplomacy check, and if you devise a stratagem, then use your skill stratagem, you'll get a bonus to your skill checks. So that's cool. So that turns devise a stratagem not just into a combat thing, but also a exploration and roleplay thing as well. So that's cool. I started playing Pathfinder Wrath of Righteousness, assuming the game rules are loosely based on the real game / book. Yes, very closely, very closely. I think Wrath of Righteousness was second edition, like non-remastered, and I think Kingmaker was also second edition, non-remastered. So yeah, very similar, very, very, very similar. Also, McClover, good to see you. Welcome in. Let's see. Okay, methodology. So, again, every class in 2nd edition usually has a branch of speciality that a character will have as a class. The methodology, I feel, is what we're looking at here for that. So, you have your studies that make you savvy in a broad spectrum of areas, and your investigation. We have, let's have a look, alchemical science, come on, English. Alchemical sciences, empiricism, interrogation, forensic medicine. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look what these do. Your methodology emphasizes chemical and alchemical analysis. Okay, so you're like a alchemist forensics kind of thing. You're trained in crafting, gain alchemical crafting. You start with a formula book. You have some elixirs, yada yada yada. You can create a number of versatile vials. You gain quick tincture, which you can use to turn one of the vials into an elixir or an alchemical tool for the use of them. Okay, so for the start of it, it basically gives you the abilities of an alchemist. So, okay, sure, I like that. Oh, both the 1st edition with a couple of 2nd edition rules. Okay. Cool, thanks, Marcus. Okay, quick tincture. One versatile vial, you can go up short-lived tincture. Okay, cool. So it's basically, you've got a formula list, you can make some potions, you've got some versatile potions that you can turn into other potions that you already know. So it seems like it's just a very small, versatile alchemist here. Empiricism. Everything comes to data, calculating and instincts, running numbers, deductive reasoning. I like this. You're trained in one intelligence skill of your choice. You gain odd investigator feat, and expeditious inspection as a free action. Once every 10 minutes, you observe your surroundings with a recall, knowledge check, seek, or sense motive. That's pretty good, especially as a free action. To search as a free action is actually quite big. Because if you walk into a room and you investigate, you could probably notice a trap before it triggers because it's a free action. And then you would actually likely get a bonus to avoid it. So that's kind of cool. I do like that. I do like that one. That's solid. Forensic medicine. You're good at the whole medicine, reconstructing scene, blah blah blah. Trained in medicine, gain forensic acumen, which is another feat from later on. Battle medicine, which allows you to use medicine checks in combat. When you use battle medicine on a success, the target recovers additional hit points equal to your level, and the target becomes temporarily immune for 1 hour and not 1 day. Ah. Okay. Interrogation. People can't be trusted, can't help but trust you, whether through your inherent likableness or your firm insistence on sticking to the truth. You have a way about getting others to talk. I do like the fact that they've taken this as a diplomatic thing and not a intimidation, violence thing. You're trained in diplomacy. You gain no cause for alarm. You also You can also pursue a lead at the same time. You make an impression as long as you ask questions related to the creature which you're conversing on the topic of conversation. You also get pointed question as an action. You ask questions that charm or needles someone in the right way. Ask a question of a non-allied creature that you can see. Attempt a diplomacy check against the creature's will DC. Immune for 1 hour. Critical success. Target must directly answer your question. Doesn't have to answer truthfully, but you gain a +4 circumstance or performance on perception check when the creature tries to lie to you. Whether truthful or not, you glean something from the body language and is off guard for the strike made using devise a stratagem before its next turn. Wow, okay, cool. That's interesting. So yeah, if they try to switch into combat, your critical success will give you that bonus. Success, as critical success with a circumstance bonus, your perception is +2. The target fails to answer you as normal. The target can refuse to answer you as normal. Critical failure, your target can refuse to answer you as normal, and its attitude decreases by 1 step. Okay. So it's more of a focused point of diplomacy and actually asking questions and stuff like that. Giving you a bonus to a detective someone's lying to you while you were doing it, as well as like being able to use that devise a stratagem potentially to give yourself an upper hand should things turn south. So that's pretty cool. So what I'm getting as Investigator is a sprinkle of a little bit of everything. Kind of. I think the Investigator for me so far is about that question. Asking the burning question and gaining a ton of bonuses surrounding your ability to investigate that. I think the Investigator is going to need to work really, really closely with the DM to make sure that those questions are always there, because they are a major part of your character's mechanic. Okay. We got skill feeds, general feeds, yada yada yada. Keen recollection. You can recall pertinent facts on a topic that aren't your speciality. Yada yada yada. Your bonus proficiency to untrained skills is equal to your level instead of 0. Nice. Okay, cool. So if you have untrained skills for recall knowledge, you can like kind of tap into them. So that's cool. Skillful lesson. Yada yada yada. You must take intelligence, wisdom, skill. Oh. You gain a skill feat every odd level. So what does that put you at? So skill feat at 2nd. Skillful lesson, skill feat, skillful lesson, skill feat, skillful. Wow. Okay, so an Investigator actually gets a skill feat every level, basically. From 3rd level onwards, an Investigator gets a skill feat every level. That's pretty good. Yeah, solid. Okay. Ancestry feat, weapon increases, vigilant senses. Oh, vigilant. I was going to say vigilante, but vigilant senses. Increase your perception, weapon specialization, fortitude expert, investigation expert. Yeah. Deductive improvisation. You use your skills to deduce to perform a task if a task is necessary to solve the case. You can attempt a check that requires you to be trained in a skill even if you're untrained. You can attempt any skill that requires you to have expert proficiency in a skill so long as you are trained in it. And you can attempt any skill that you have mastery in as long as you have expert proficiency in it. Okay, cool. That's interesting. I like that. That's actually the first rule that I've seen that comes into the whole proficiency restriction thing. So, in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, when you level up your skills, you have untrained, trained, expert, master, legendary. Now, the reason you have these is not only because they provide you a static bonus plus your level to the skill that you're doing, but also, if you think something requires a certain level of competence to achieve, the GM can basically say, no, doesn't matter how high your score is, if you are not this trained, you cannot make this check. I had a case where one of my players was in a treehouse in the underbrush of a forest, and he wanted to shoot a rope bridge across through a few trees and snap the ropes with his bullet. And he was trained in firearms. Now, for me, I was like, nah, there's no way. There's no way someone trained in firearms should be able to hit that rope. Now, if he rolled a natural 20 and I turned around and said, well, sorry, you still don't hit it, right? Or even the rules of natural 20s is it bumps it up by 1. So you roll a natural 20, even if you fail, technically by the rules of natural 20, you still succeed because it's one step up when you roll a nat 20. Instead of that, as a GM, you can veto the check by just saying, sorry, to attempt this check, you will need to be a expert or a master with your firearm. And if you're not, it simply automatically fails. And that is, I think, a really, really good and useful tool as a GM to measure a response based on the game and not just give the game to the power builders. You know what I mean? Like, if you power build to the point where your stats are so high that it doesn't matter, well, guess what? Pathfinder 2nd Edition says, no, doesn't matter if you've got a 50 in your blacksmithing and you are only trained, you cannot make a magic artifact until you are a master craftsman. You know, stuff like that. So yeah. It is a cold shot, but yeah, you can make cold shots in Pathfinder. Okay, but I love the fact that in this one it specifically says, though, that if you are trained, you can try expert stuff. If you're an expert, you can try master stuff. If you're a master, well, actually it doesn't say master and legendary, but yeah, either way, it means that you can make those checks and make those attempts, which I like. I like that's how that works. Increase your will saves, increase your perception, armor proficiencies, weapon proficiencies, savvy reflexes. Yeah, cool. So that's all the basic stuff. Greater dog-willed. Yep, some more will. More armor and master detective. Here we go. As a master detective, you can solve any case and find all clues available. Your reputation precedes you, and even most of the criminals and deceivers fear you. Your proficiency rank for your investigator increases to master. In addition, if you enter a new location that includes another clue towards answering a question at heart, the GM informs you of the existence of the clue and its type, an object, a person, a spell, or the like. When you find the clue, the GM informs you that you have done so. If there is more than one clue at the location, the GM chooses one to inform you about, and when you find the clue at that location, they inform you you've done so, even if it wasn't the clue they had chosen. Nice. So basically, you strong arm the GM into telling you when you found clues. It's like hot, warmer, 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 cold, cold. You know, that's kind of that's an interesting relationship to have with your DM at level 19. I would love to see it, honestly. Like there's the end. It's like have your player go, all right, what clues are in the area, Mr. GM? Well, there's an object here that may be of interest. Look around. Is it this? No. Is it this? No. Is it this? No. Is it this? Yes. Oh, I found it. Yeah, we found the object that we're looking for. Yes, but it's not the object I mentioned first. Ha 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 ha. Evil GM laugh. Thunder. Boom. Yeah, there you go. All right, investigator feats. Let's have a look. Eliminate red herrings. You have a keen sense for avoiding spurious lines. I don't know how to say that. Spurious lines of inquiry. When you roll a critical failure on a skill check to recall knowledge related to a question about one active investigation, you get a failure instead. Ah, that's cool. That is actually remarkably good. Can they ask if there are any other clues? It doesn't say you can't, but it doesn't say you're entitled to know that from the GM. Yeah, it doesn't say the GM has to tell you if there are more than one clue. Only that if you found a clue, they identify it, and at least a clue that you're looking for. I think it's good that they do that because it means that the investigator doesn't just get lazy. So yeah, you're guaranteed a clue. Flexible studies. During your daily prep, you can cram on certain subjects, train in a skill of your choice. Wow, nice. It lasts until you prepare this again. That's cool. Sweet. It cannot be used as a prerequisite for a class skill or feat. Okay, cool. That's good. That's a good clarification. So basically, every day you turn around and you go, I want to be skilled or trained at this, and then off you go. And it is trained. I imagine that they'll get higher later on, but for now, trained is good. No weaknesses. When you devise a strategy, you can also attempt to recall knowledge if you succeed. Yep, so that one's an old one as well, where you get to like learn about their about the stuff that they can do. Here we go. You can convey the weakness and inform other allies to give them a +1 to their next attack. That's cool. Interesting. Takedown expert. You've mastered getting up close and taking down perpetrators. Use intelligence modifiers and attack rolls for attack and stratagem. If using a weapon from the club group, like a club of staff, in addition to the weapons, you can also make non-lethals, taking a -2 penalty. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, so takedown expert. You use your intelligence and stuff. Hey, what's up, VC by night? Nice to see you. Welcome in. That's odd. When you enter a new location, the GM determines what something's out of the ordinary. Blah 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 blah. Here we go. It skips over things that are easily noticed. Nice, I like that. You learn that an area or object is suspicious, but not why it's suspicious. For example, you enter a study with a large bloodstain on the ground. The bloodstain is so obviously suspicious that it's evident to you already, so the GM might note that there is something suspicious about the desk drawer instead. You would need to then investigate the drawer to further find out what specifically is out of the ordinary. If you wish, you could pursue a lead concerning the details if you have pursued a lead less than 10 minutes ago. That's odd. It doesn't reveal whether a creature is whether creatures are suspicious. You don't typically get any benefit when you leave or come back to a place, though a major change may have happened there and time has passed. Okay, so that's odd is fundamentally the same. I like the fact that it excludes things that are obvious or readily apparent in lieu of trying to find those little tiny things. So again, there's a lot of things shifting now towards the favor of the GM, helping guide this player or this character onto the clues that they need to go on the investigation. A little PSA, I guess, here is a GM needs to have a good head if they've got an investigator in their group. As a GM, I know that a lot of times we like to surprise our players with stuff that's happening, you know, improving the narrative, moving the story, keeping clues under our hats, and then being like, surprise! This is very much a class that has now become a anti-surprise class, because you as a GM are obliged to tell your players these things. Now here's the thing. One, I think a GM cannot be vague with these answers, with these things. Like when it says, tell them that there's something odd about something else, you cannot be vague about it. Two, is you cannot forget it. You can't simply just pretend like, oh damn, I forgot that you know, there was a box of clues in over here. You can't, and of course, you cannot lie to them either. You can't say, oh yeah, there's something interesting in this room. It was a lamp. Why is that lamp interesting? Well, it was bought by the criminal. You know, you can't try to deceive them. This class requires that level of honesty, but you then need to build a level deeper and have the clue sort of be identified, like, what's odd here? Like if you say, you sense something odd in this room, that's not helpful. You go, there's something odd about the portrait hanging on the wall. And then if you look at it, it is then your duty to go, what is odd about it? To go, as they look at the portrait, they notice that there's a scuff mark on the side of it, as if someone had hastily moved the portrait and then placed it back, but not in the correct position. Now, sure, that gives everyone, like, just hands them the clue. But the thing is, you're guiding your player to those results and to those eventualities. But you must make sure they have the chance to discover it themselves without handing it to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have to ask you what's odd about it. They have to go there and make the perception check. They have to then move the portrait and, etc., etc., etc. You need to make sure that you're... fuck, it's weird, yeah. That the GM is being honest and truthful and supportive, but giving enough room for the player to do the investigation and not just be handed exposition. Yeah. Yeah. That's it, yeah. So yeah, tough one. We'll come back to that later at the end when we review the whole thing. But yeah, let's keep moving. Trap Finder. You get bonuses to traps and bonuses to dodging? No? Let's see. +1 is perceived traps and AC bonus to attacks made against traps. Yep, cool. You can disable a trap that requires a proficiency rank of Master Thievery. If you have Master, you can disable traps that have Legendary instead. Wow. Okay, cool. So even if you don't have Mastery in Thievery, you can treat it as though you do for disabling traps. That's really cool. Yeah, Intrigue versus the metagame is difficult. Absolutely, reading. 100%. Investigator, not Inquisitor, but yes, Cass, we are. We've had a lot of stuff to to think about on this one. This has been an interesting one. Let's keep moving. Underworld Investigator. You're familiar with the criminal element. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. You understand how they operate. You become trained in underworld law, and you gain pursue a lead investigation bonus to thievery checks. Nice. Stealing clues from a suspect or picking a lock. Nice. Love that. I'm Jared 19 and I can't freaking read. I don't understand that reference. Sorry. Alright, second level. Athletic Strategist. You're trained in athleticism. You know how to calculate and manipulate the joints of the body. In addition to the attack roll of the substitution for the strike, you can use it to modify disarm, grapple, reposition, shovel, trip. Nice. So that opens it up to your combat maneuvers with your device's stratagem. Or athletics. You must apply the substitution to the first eligible attack, yada yada yada. You can also use your intelligence instead of strength, athletics, etc. Nice. So you basically use your intelligence for your physical prowess with athletic strategists. So I like that. I like that too. It's a shock. I still need to crowdsource the Neil class. No, I think the Neil class would probably be the Oracle. Just this cursed dude. Alright, it's a TikTok guy asked to read the class and says, I'm Jared 19 and I never learned how to effing read. No, the only one that I've seen that is the Asdaf movies. I used to love the Asdaf stuff. And it's like, this sign's never gonna keep me out. I can't read. Yeah, little things like that. Okay. Certain stratagem. You know exactly where to strike a foe. The weak spots when making a strike that you're adding your intelligence modifier to due to devise stratagem and miss. You deal half your strategic strike damage to the target. Anyway, nice. This damage is the type of the weapon that you attack with. Cool. So when you miss, you still hit. I do like it. Exploit blunder. I come to exploit your blunders. Okay. Creature you devise a stratagem with against your most recent fails critically strike against you. By watching a foe okay, cool. So if they strike you and they miss, you can take a free step. Or a reaction to step away. Nice. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Person of interest. Once per 10 minutes. Sometimes you need to follow leads as they come in the middle of an investigation. Choose a creature that you can see who isn't, to your knowledge, tied to your investigation. For the next minute, you may devise a stratagem against that creature as a free action. Ooh. I like that. That's a good one. So basically, you turn around, you go, I'm investigating this criminal over here, but that guy on the street there who's selling cabbages, he's a person of interest. I can now devise a stratagem against him. That's really cool. So it's really nice that that's at second level too, because it means that you straight away are able to open up devise a stratagem outside of your key investigation. So that's really cool. Hey, Sarak, good to see you. We are just going over the Investigator for the player core. As you've just come in, let me very, very quickly recap what we've done. So basically an Investigator, right, now has an ability called Pursue a Lead, where he gets to ascertain a case and basically go, hey, GM, this is the question I am investigating. Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? And anything pertaining to stealing the cookies from the cookie jar or answering that question gets a bonus based on their active investigation, which then ties into a bunch of different things. You can clue in and give that bonus to your allies. You can devise a stratagem, so if someone you're talking to is like, he knows about the cookies from the cookie jar, you can basically go, hey you, I'm going to get some bonuses to talk to you and have a chat with you. Or if he goes into combat to try and run away and fight you, you can roll a check, and that d20 roll is then the roll you used for your first attack or action against that person. So you'll devise a stratagem. You're like, hey, that guy, is freaking this. But up until second level, you can only apply that to people who are part of your case or who are involved with the thing you're looking into. Except for person of interest, which we're now looking at here, which allows you to allocate people outside of your investigation to devise a stratagem with. And when you do, it's a free action to do that. So, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Love that one. Shared stratagem. When you and your crew roll the plan you make includes your allies as well. When you hit a creature with an attack on which you substituted your attack roll due to devise a stratagem, designate an ally. The creature you hit is off guard for that ally's next attack. That's pretty cool. Good for team ups with rogues. You basically turn around and you go whack, and then the rogue goes aha, whack 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 whack. So that's pretty cool. His very first RP experience, he was Moriarty. Who is Moriarty? Oh, right, yeah. Investigator versus SF2's Envoy is an interesting headspace. Envoy is essentially being redesigned as not quite an investigator, but kind of for people and social situations. Nice! I do like that. Interesting. I'm really interested to see how the Envoy works, because I feel like the Envoy should have been / is a diplomat, which is interesting because there is no diplomat in Pathfinder. So the question is if Starfinder 2nd edition is going to be compatible with Starfinder, the reverse is true as well. Meaning, could we reflavor an Envoy to be a diplomat in Pathfinder 2nd edition in a fantasy setting? Who knows? Yes, Redal, please ask the question. I'm sorry, there was a lot. Hold on. Let me see if I can go back to it. You have ever made a bee-bag like that? The suspicious cabbage guy? I think I have. Oh, you mean like have I made just some random dude like a villain that the group has just like not noticed? Because I've done that one. That was really funny. So a while ago I had a character who was a what was she? Oh no, above that? Okay, hold on. It can be fun to create a Moriarty-type B-Bag to go up against an investigation character that would add some difficulty checks to those if they don't beat a certain DC. It's just that they weren't able to outthink the ingenious plans of the villain. That is kind of cool. I wonder if that would actually be interesting if there were feats for like countering your stuff. And in terms of making a Moriarty B-Bag, I haven't made a Moriarty, but I have made like a hiding in plain sight villain. So, like the villain was an arsonist, but it turns out the arsonists themselves was the actual first victim, because he had burnt down his own house by accident, then got addicted to it. He ended up getting like done at the mortuary. They kind of like grabbed him and threw him in the morgue, but he had survived his wounds, killed the original coroner, and then he had just basically started going to all these crime scenes, so setting fires, and then eventually the group figured out who he was when they went back to investigate the first victim. They found he hadn't died in a fire, and they were like, but that doesn't make sense. we literally watched the dude burn up. This guy was a crisp, you know, like what the hell? And that's when they went and identified him, and they found out that he was actually the coroner. And they just went, what the fuck? The coroner's helped us with like 8 cases so far. And then they went and they found him out, and yeah, he had burn marks and yada yada yada. So yeah, that was a cool one. Oh, when I was or the Naruto RPG one. That was the thing. But that was me, not really a roleplay thing. So, all right, let's keep moving. So that was shared stratagem. Here we go. Ooh, look, a little rat folk. Happy little rat guy. Oh, look, and he's a coroner. Fucking weird. Oh, look at that. Freaking coroner and everything. And like I said, I have not read this book, so that was just saying, freaking solid. Hey, Dag, I'm sorry for my mention. I don't understand what you're talking about, Khan, but thank you for your apology, I guess. It was you, and you are sneaky. Yeah, that's true. Twilight Zone. Dag is a precog confirmed. Yes, that's true. That's true. Oh, you mean that one? Okay, so yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine. Khan, let me make something clear. Let me make something clear here. I have a very particular, very different parasocial relationship with my fans than Careful Cantrip does. For me, this space here is always about mental wellness, keeping people comfortable and safe, and all of these sorts of things. It's a very, very strict value because I do have young people who do watch my show, who do come here and hang out and stuff. And there are certain levels of topic that I just in my own way, I bully so that people don't feel uncomfortable about it. If it does make you feel uncomfortable at some point or another, don't just let me know or apologize like this. There'll never ever be any ongoing bad blood. There'll never be any kind of thing in regards to that. It's just a nature of how I do stuff. So yeah, you are good. I'm good. This is good. We love having you here. You, Cass, the whole CC thing. It's amazing to have you guys around and hanging out, you know, like, again, yes. And I do know it always comes from a good place, and I do know that you and Cass in particular have a close friendship, and I am very respectful of that as well. So yeah. Hashtag not a cult, even though we all worship Dag. Like, yeah, look, you guys need to stop that fucking shit. Nothing weirds me. You guys honestly weird me out sometimes. Like, it's like sometimes I'll be streaming and then I'll have like 15 donations. I'm like, I haven't even fucking done anything yet. Let me work for my money. Stop just giving it to me. Anyway, moving on. But thank you, Khan. I just think I'm going to say thank you, Khan, for that. It does take a lot of courage to be able to step forward and say that, especially when we think about that. And sometimes, going back to the mental health stuff, if we hang on to those things and we don't address them and don't say them, it eats away at us in a weird way. So I'm really happy that you felt comfortable enough to say that, you know, in chat. You are loved here. You're welcomed here. And thank you for, you know, expressing yourself. It is very, very appreciated. Okay. Cool. Solid lead. Sometimes your case splinters into smaller mysteries, but you never lose sight of the big picture. Once per day, you give up on the subject of a lead due to pursuing the lead again, and you can designate the lead you stopped pursuing as your solid lead for the day. Even though you stopped following the solid lead, you can change back to it. Ah! That's cool. That is cool. So basically what happens is, pursuing a lead means you ask a question. Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? And where did the butler go on the night of the murder? These 2 questions become your pursuing lead. And you can only have 2. But what you can do is you could say where the butler was, turn that into a solid lead, so you will no longer get bonuses for finding out where the butler was. Start a new question, like, where's the missing Rolls Royce, right? But then what you can do is you can go back and say, you know what? I don't think the Rolls Royce is helping us out here. I'm about to do something involving the butler. You know what? Screw the Rolls Royce. Let's bring back that solid lead. And you can then reapply the question that you had previously. The biggest thing that I've got a thought on that is that obviously you can't always keep changing the questions. That makes sense. But let's say that I did wait enough time and later on decided to go back to look into the butler. Can I take a question to pursue a lead that I had already thrown away? I think that is possible, but this kind of makes me wonder, that's all. Because it implies that once you stop asking a question, you don't go back to it. So, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I feel readers written you can go back to questions you already have, but, you know, that's it. Did you miss the wizard? No. We're doing the investigator and the monk today. I do wonder if all the daggers where the bandoliers holds them all together. There's always room for daggers. Actually, you know what? It's really funny. There's actually a item, one of my favorite items actually from Pathfinder, called the Cloak of Daggers, which is always fun. Now that will always have a meaning for me. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. Otherwise, we're never gonna get through this. Alchemical discoveries for your 4th level thing. You extra time in the lab, you get more formulas. Makes sense. Cool. Detective's readiness. You stay watchful and resolute. You gain investigation bonus to pursue from pursuing the lead. Against creatures that are affected to the question at the heart of the thing. Okay, cool. So detective's readiness now applies your pursue a lead stuff on saving throws against creatures and effects. So that's pretty cool as well. Nice. Lie detector. You attempt to get people to yada yada. Bonuses to your perception and sense of motive. Against people who lie to you. More bonuses. If you would gain a pursue a lead investigation bonus. Okay. Alright, cool. So yeah, basically if you can detect how people lie to you and if they lie to you, and in addition, you can also gain a bonus if they do lie to you as well. So that's pretty cool. Ongoing investigation. Can move at full speed while using the investigation action. Okay, interesting on that one, but again, I think this one is one of those things that, like, how often are you going to not consider your characters to be moving at full speed while investigating? You know what I mean? Like, yes, the rules exist that they do move at half speed while they're looking around, but I don't think because combat's not really a thing, we're not really stopping to consider your movement in a space at any given time. So I feel like that one there is going to be a hyper specific thing. Unless you're looking at like a city in hexagonal squares and going, how long is it going to take to search this district or this square, and then going through that. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know how I don't see much point in that one. I don't imagine many players are going to use that one. So yeah. Hey, what's up, Jen? Good to see you. Happy time zone. Oh, I mean, I definitely consider. Wait, are you being sarcastic, Redial? Not the first thing you think of as investigator? Are you kidding me? The first thing I think of any investigator is a rat folk, and I'm not being sarcastic. I absolutely do. I was curious. Do you want to know why? No, not sarcastic. Yeah, no. Hold on. I'm gonna show you something. And as soon as I do, you're gonna be like, ah. Here we go. Alright, you ready? Here we go. Okay, I just need to... There we go. There we go. The Great Mouse Detective, Basil of Baker Street. Also made into a Disney film as well. So, you know, like, there. That is literally one of the reasons why, like, as an investigator, like, the first thing I always think of is, like, you know, if not Sherlock Holmes, you know, Basil of Baker Street. Did Basil inspire Basil? Only the name. not the personality or anything like that. Just like the actual name, Basil. It was always like Basil Fawlty, Basil of Baker Street, and I thought like, yeah, Basil was always a very proper person, and that's where the name came from. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. So yes, yeah. Anyway, going back to it. Scalpel's Point. Forensic methodology, yada yada yada. When you critically hit with an attack, you substitute your attack roll with the device stratagem. You also deal bleed damage, persistent bleed damage. Okay, that's pretty good. But any kind of persistent damage is always really good, especially if you can land it and the other creature or person doesn't have healing abilities. It's a rough one because even using medicine checks to restore stuff can sometimes be hard. So yeah. I wonder how many hours of DAG streams until I cave and play Pathfinder. Dude, do what you want. I always tell people this as well. Look, I love Pathfinder, of course I do. It is not the only game I play, as I'm sure many people know. But honestly, you will not find versatility for a player in greater multitudes than in this game. You can make literally anything you can imagine with Pathfinder. Something I have not yet found in any other RPG. A lot of people are talking to me about DC-20. However, having looked at the playtest for DC-20, I'm not holding my breath. And that's just it. It's not that I don't like it. I'm just, it's a skeleton. It's a skeleton. I'm waiting for the meat and potatoes to come in. My partner's diehard D&D 3.5. Nice! I love D&D 3.5. Honestly, I have such a guilty pleasure with D&D 3.5. And I get to play D&D 3.5 at Gen Con. So happy. Looking forward to the rest of the books coming out so I can continue to GM him. Aw, that's beautiful. I love that. Can't watch the one-shot. Enjoying my conversation processing. Intimidated to learn another system. Hey, look, Khan, I'll tell you this. If we only do what we're capable of right now, we're never more than we are. Okay? You will never learn a new system if you don't start somewhere. And the thing is no one's good at something right out the gate. You need to go through that crucible of fire. You need to fail. You need to, have those moments where you trip and mess up. And one of the things is, I say that there are so many rules in Pathfinder. I mean, hell, we're doing a 2-3 hour stream just dedicated to it. But, you learn bit by bit, every single day, every single time. And then eventually you just get to the point where apparently you end up winning a fucking award, becoming the best fucking Paizo GM. So, remember, it starts somewhere. It always does. Oh, Cypher System's cool, too. Yes, I agree. First time I had an investigator, first mysterious bee-bag automatically became an orangutan with a razor blade. Was it the librarian from Terry Pratchett? Oh, that'd be such a twist. DC-20. Oh, too ambitious for DC-20? Yeah, okay, look, this isn't an anti-DC-20 soapbox thing, but here's my impression of DC-20. DC-20 has a lot of support and a lot of insight from very, very prolific content creators and the like. I haven't made any videos about DC-20. I've not been asked to do a DC. I've been asked to play DC-20, but that kind of flaked out on me at some point or another, and it's fine. It's so good. I'm not bitter about that in any way. But then I started looking at a lot of stuff in regards to how the mechanics work and how they how you can create characters and things like that. And for me, it was interesting. It was different. But when people tell me oh, this is like the love child between D&D 5e and Pathfinder and stuff like that, all I could see is that they're trying to simplify a lot of mechanics that I'm already familiar with, claiming them to be a bunch of innovative ideas and stuff like that. But the thing is imagine, if you would, someone learning what a shepherd pie is, rolling back, taking all the ingredients, and then trying to reinvent the shepherd pie. It's not a new system. It's not new concepts. It's simply a revised version of the thing that I'm already playing, so I'm not invested in it. For example, there's 4 action economy. Yeah, cool, but you've just made reactions an action. And yes, it does allow you to utilize your reaction more in combat. But I find that playing Pathfinder, 3 actions is already plenty for people. I've had lots of situations where my players will take 2 actions and go, I'm just going to skip my 3rd one because I don't want to risk having another attack and doing that. I don't want to pull away from him and step out of combat. I'm just going to pass on my last turn. And usually I'll say, hey, you can always aid your ally or, sort of get into a better flanking position. I'll usually have to try and encourage my players to take that third action, So having a fourth action, which is your reaction, which again can be used in a more versatile way, doesn't strike me as a brand new mechanic or something that I'm like, oh, wow, you can just make a ton of attacks of opportunity. For me, it's like, yeah, okay, but then what? What else do we add to this? What are you adding to the game? What is evolving? And it just wasn't enough for me to go, oh, cool, I'm gonna throw my lot in with that. I much rather throw in my lot with stuff like Through the Breach, which is like, hey, it's a freaking card-based Wild West, game. It's something so drastically different. Yes, sign me up. Monster of the Week, fan-fucking-tastic. Kids on Bike, yes, please. All these different things. Those for me are very much where I'm at. You can make Jotaro without the time-stopping abilities. Well, you could probably make the time-stopping abilities too. Depends on your aesthetic, for sure. Yes, OG, yes. You're running a cyber system one-shot on Sunday. Oh, that's so exciting! Your first GM experience. Is it on stream? Tell me where. Tell me how. Dagger stream? Yeah, I do love Terry Pratchett. I do. I love the fact the man had a meteor sword. Dagger's the king of analogies. That's true. I do have so many analogies. Reaction as an action. That would confuse you. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I love when you help us out in game. I say baby Pathfinder player with 3 actions feels like a lot. Yeah, 3 actions do feel like a lot. Still struggling to get to figure out and do it correctly. Yeah, Jen, exactly. That's the thing. Pathfinder has plenty. And I don't think that DC20 makes things more complicated. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that I would much rather take the time to learn and specialize in Pathfinder than to learn another system which is Pathfinder light-ish. You know what I mean? So there you go. First GM experience doing it with Crimson Rockstar's Discord. Okay, cool. Hey, look. I don't judge. If you want to be on stream, you're on stream. If you're on Discord, you're on Discord. Have an amazing time with that, and let me know how it goes. I am very, very invested. Would like to play a summoner with inspirations from JoJo or a monk. Monk's key being flavored as Hamon. That'd be kind of cool. That's an amazing idea. I do like that. Okay. Let's keep moving. I'm so distracted. I have such many little side quests that take me away from things. Okay, so strategic assessments. You learn your foe's strengths and weaknesses by watching them move. When you hit a creature with your strike on which you used to devise a stratagem, the GM chooses one of the following pieces of information to get to you. Which of the enemy's weaknesses is the highest, which of the enemy's resistance is the highest, which of the enemy's saving throws are the lowest, one immunity that the GM has. The GM can choose to deliberately or at random, but they cannot choose information that doesn't apply, such as choosing an immunity for an enemy that has no immunity. This applies only on the first time you are given a hit. Nice. I like this. That when you hit them, you gain a little bit of information. But, I would like to add in, and this would be how I would rule it. If I hit someone with a flaming fist and they are immune to fire, and I hit them and they don't take the fire damage, I would exclude fire immunity from that, because they can discern that just from the fact that fire didn't seem to do any damage. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd want that to be made the most of. That's just how I feel. The number one rule of the Wasteland Daggers always counts for streams, apparently. One shall always be distracted by random BS. Yes, that's true. It's very true. Freaking side questing. OG said I couldn't play because you're too young. It's because you're too immature. Marcus, you die so much. You play sooner or later. Also true. Okay. By the way, I want to point out, I am not a harsh GM. Just want to say that. I'm not a harsh GM. I could have killed all my players on Reign of Winter, but I locked them in a cell to deal with them after Gen Con. That's what I did. Alright. Connect the dots. Connection between places, yada yada yada. You briefly study the ways. Okay. Perception checks against the higher of the non-allied creature's deceptions, DC or will DC. Choose an ally and a non-allied creature. Okay. You spot a way for your allies to take advantage of the other target's flaws and let them know about it. They gaining your pursuer lead against that person. To all the strikes and things. Critical success. But you ally gets bonus for the next attack or scale.
Okay, so it seems like connecting the dots, you can, again, much like the other ability, you forward your powers like clue into someone who you're investigating. It's interesting. I like the fact that it is a buff, but I'm really kind of wondering how much of a boost that's really going to give you, or how much of a point there is really going to be to doing that. Just interesting on that. Because it's, I mean, like Pathfinder 2nd Edition doesn't have the kind of super high numbers that Pathfinder 1st Edition had. That's for sure. But I'm also wondering, like, if your ally gets the Pursuer Lead Investigation bonus on all their strikes and skill checks. The Pursuer Lead bonus is really a +1. So, I mean, is that +1 really worth it? Especially because you have to make a check for it as well. And it's level 6. Maybe, no, it can't be my head. So that just seems really shit. That is a 2-action ability that allows your ally, that requires a check, that gives your ally a +1 to all their attacks and skills until the start of your next turn. That does not really seem that good. I feel like Pursuer Lead needs to be higher. But it really just isn't. Unless I missed something. Hold on. Let me just check something real quick. No, it doesn't increase naturally. Could come in handy if another character is dueling an NPC for something. I mean, yeah, it can be, but like I said, the fact it takes 2 actions, a check, and gives a +1, that for me is a concern. That's like nowhere near enough. Anyway, predictive purchase. You gain the Prescient Planner and the Prescient Consumer Defeat when using... Okay, so basically this is like... It's kind of like pretending like you've spent this many resources to buy something. 2-action activity to remove it from your backpack rather than draw action and taking it. Okay, cool. So, yeah, normally it'd be like you rummage through your backpack for a minute and you'd find something that you purchased ages ago that helps you in this situation. You can now do it as a 2-action ability. So that's really cool. That's a good one. Thorough Research. Succeeded in knowledge recall. When you get a critical success, you get information, context, and can ask follow-up questions. Okay, cool. So, sweet. So more information for doing your knowledge checks. Again, another thing I think, much like the exploration speed thing, I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. Most GMs will kind of, as you're investigating, make you do a recall knowledge check and give you all the information you require. So to say that you gain additional information, I feel like outside of module play, I don't know if any GM will do that. Because here's the thing. As a GM, I don't think there's ever been a point where if my players hit a DC, that I'll choose from 5 or 6 different bits of information and give them one. Normally, I'll just give them the information that they need.
And I feel like most GMs do that as well. So, so more information. I don't know if that's a thing, but maybe not. Blind fight. You're not off guard to creatures that are hidden from you. You only need a DC 5 check to target a hidden creature. While you're adjacent to an undetected creature, it is only hidden from you. Ah, nice. Okay, like that. So, yep, blind fight is a very, very good one. It's a shame it's a level 8 investigator feat, because that would be amazing for, like, fighters and stuff. Clue them all in. You can clue in all your allies at once. Brilliant, so you can give that +1 bonus to everyone. Amazing. Devise a defensive stratagem. Roll a d20. You can attempt to strike a target until the start of your next turn. +1 on all your defenses against that creature. That's cool. Alright, nice. So yeah, as you hit someone with your devised stratagem, you get bonuses to your defense. Cool. Who done it? Once per day. You narrow down some details. When you pursue a lead, there's a larger mystery. You can ask 2 questions related to your investigation. When you open it, your GM must answer truthfully with a yes or no, though if the answer would be misleading or have no practical application to your investigation, the GM can answer immaterial. You can't use whodunit more than once for the same lead, even across different days. Your questions must come in the form of must come from the following list, applying the details that spurred the investigation. Was this clue left by a blarg creature? Was this clue left by the last hour? Was this last day? Was this creature left? Was the creature that left this clue in a heightened emotional state when he left the clue? Did anyone attempt to conceal this clue? All right, so those interesting. I like it, but I don't know if the question list was necessary. Do you know what I mean? I feel like answering a yes or no question, yes no immaterial to an investigation should be fine. But I suppose it does stop the players from going, is so and so the culprit? And then I feel like that might be a thing. Tag will be separately read on the multi-classing later. Yes, there will be. I know GM makes you take notes if you didn't write it down. You cannot recall it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, listen, Christine. Yes, stop calling me out. A better bonus would be the ability to successfully ally could do a shot without raising the DC. Yeah, exactly, Redal. 100%. If they could do it without, if they could do a cold shot without, like you could help improve their expertise. Yeah, that would be amazing. Hello, Clorpdonk. Got my player core book today in the mail. Hell yeah. That's amazing. What are you most excited about, Clor? Let me know. OG, what's your Chemipo BRX? Yeah, that'd be funny. There's some modules I could see coming in the new due to the nature of the questions. Clue 1, they get this. Clue 2. Yeah, that's true. Focuses are nice. Yeah, I just got flipping through. Nice. Good to see. It's a Guess Who game. Yeah, basically it'll be becoming a game of Guess Who. That'll be terrifying. I wanted to ask you about separate multi-class reads, so I don't want to spam the questions. I'll save them for you. No, spam questions. Questions are here. We are candid. We're here. We're chilling out. I am here to talk with you guys. You are here to talk with me, guys. We are focusing on just reading through the investigation of the monk for now. But yes, there will be a whole section on multi-classing and stuff. But if you have questions about multi-classing, you can ask. Because there is no actual multi-classing in 2nd edition. But, we can talk about it. Just updating the classes. I already knew, but for the remaster, minus that OGL thing. Yeah, pretty much. Actually, from what I've read so far, some of the stuff has actually been quite substantial. Like, we're going through the Investigator, and I was saying earlier on, I love the fact that the Investigator now actually feels like having a case and having a question, that you need to answer is now a strong part of the mechanics behind this character. So in the previous editions, pursuing the lead was never really a thing, but now it's like, well, you have 2 questions. These 2 questions are what give you the basis of all of the bonuses you get for your class. So you need to make sure you're asking these questions and following these up as well. So I love that. I love that as a major part of this class. It makes me feel like it's more thematically on point than the previous versions. I just realized I have no clue. When did you start pro DMing, Dag? I started pro DMing over 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably 10 years ago, 2014, was when I started working for the Australian government running games for at-risk kids. So that was my first pro DMing gig. I had been paid previously to GM, but I don't really view that as pro GMing because, like, getting paid to do a gig, like, you know, like running a game and everyone buys a drink, or, you know, you get $10, $20, that's not work for me. That's like, it's not really an income. But once I started making an income from the government, that was when I started pro GMing. Then I reached out to a few other pro GMs and content creators, and then eventually became a content creator myself. And now I'm a pro GM, content creator, full-time, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that was me. Redub. I feel that way, buddy. I feel that way so hard. You said there was an investigator coach you listed at the fireside. It's a way to explain how it would work or how it is better for the multi-class read. So blind fighting, for example, means that you are now aware of people around you, even if they're hidden. I think fighters, especially swordsmen and stuff like that, I've always loved the idea of the blind swordsman idea. So with blind fighting, you can now, you're not off guard to creatures who are hidden from you. Always awesome if you're a fighter. In addition, if they are within 5 foot of you, they're only hidden, which is actually a lower check to try and hit them. And now that you only need to make a DC 5 flat check to hit the creature, that means anything that 5 or higher, that means you've got like a 20% chance to miss them. And I love that. It's like, yeah, you're hidden from me. As long as you kind of know the rough zone or the rough square, you'll get them. So that's kind of what I like for that as well. Storytelling as a way to help risky youth is so beautifully. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. But honestly, like the game does it itself, right? Like kids crave that ability to be able to express themselves and look at, like kind of exploring who they are and their own storytelling and creativity. And this is just a great platform for it. So, yeah, quite enjoyed that. I had a cover with some coworkers the other day and found out I was at college the year they were born. Makes me feel so old. Oh, Millsy. Yeah, no, dude. Like, let me tell you this. One of my kids was like 13, scrawny, came in with a carer, just literally just finished up their uni course to become a high school teacher. So, and I don't look that old, right? Like, in all fairness, I do not look old enough to have had a kid grow up to be a teacher, right? Like, that's wild for me. Fighters do have the blind 5 feet at level 8. I just saw it working on fighters. Hey, cool. So they do. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I haven't done a full read like I'm doing with this for the core book, which I really should. I just did it with this because I just kind of wanted to. And because I knew that I was going to go to Gen Con. I was going to miss everyone, so there you go. But that's cool. Yes. Blind fight. Perfect. Sweet. Amazing. I love it. Thank you, Crypt Walker. You, sir, have leveled up. Well done. Underage. Bunch of toddlers in trench coats. Love that. Okay. Let's keep reading. In regards to that previous one, the whodunit, I like whodunit. I appreciate the fact that there are limited questions that you can use with it, but I think I'd be a little bit more open with it. Maybe as a GM, I will be. Maybe I'll be like, you can ask for yes or no questions as long as you aren't identifying a specific individual creature. You can basically ask whatever question you want. Just one more thing. You recently attempted to demoralize, feign, or request, and you fail, but don't critically fail. After you influence someone, it goes poorly. Yada yada yada. Reroll the failed check and use the new result. You gain the bonus from your pursue a lead bonus. You can also use it to check a lie, make an impression, coerce, yada yada yada. Okay, cool. So it's kind of like a do-over, which is good. And it costs an action to do so. So if you try it once, fail, use that as a do-over, that's still going to cost you something. So I like that. That's perfect. I think that works really well. Ongoing strategy. If you don't have a stratagem in place ahead of time, on any strike in which you didn't devise a stratagem, you still deal precision damage equal to your number of strategic strike dice, so long as the weapon... Yada yada yada. Oh, okay. Nice. Okay, so you no longer require, with that one, to devise a stratagem to get your precision damage. That's cool. So that's now that step towards rogue, I think. Suspect of opportunity. Creature who isn't, to your knowledge, tied to your active investigation. Sometimes your case unexpectedly sends you into an ambush. You use person of interest against a triggering creature. This doesn't allow your creature to use... Oh, so as a reaction, you can use person of interest on someone. Nice. Okay, that's cool. I like that. That's quite useful. Ooh, I love that artwork. Look at that. The Investigator, and that's a ghost, I think? Or a revenant or something? Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. Just one more thing is a classic Investigator line. Yeah. Oh yeah, just one more thing. Yeah, I love that. Alright. Empiricist's Eye. Sharp and piercing eyes. Your point out action loses the auditory trait, and you don't need to be heard to convey information. Nice. In addition, any creature you point out is off guard to your allies till the start of your next turn. If you have blind fight, your allies gain the benefits of that against any creature that's off guard. Nice! That's really cool. That's super cool. So basically, you turn around and you go, that guy there. Get him. So that's cool. That's useful. Oh yeah, the art in the book is amazing. Foresee danger as a reaction. Creature targets you with an attack that you can see the attacker. The triggering attack rolls to target your perception DC instead of your AC. Oh. Avoid the penalties to your AC. Doesn't remove any conditions. Dang. That could be really good. So basically, your perception DC is 10 plus your perception. And given that you get this at level 12, let's find out actually. Let's calculate it roughly. So you start as expert. And then when do you get perception? Let's see. Perception is master at 7th level. Yeah, so you'd have master and legendary at level 13. So that's not even that long of a distance, right? So that is, by my count, let's have a look. So trained, expert, master, legendary. Okay, so that's 12. 13. Alright. So that would effectively make your AC at those levels 28 against an attack at level 12 if you use that, or 31 at the following level, which if you were unarmored, oh, and that's not even including your wisdom, so that plus your wisdom. So, yeah, 28 plus your wisdom. So that is super nice. That is big. That is big. Foresee danger. So yeah, like I said, foresee danger is probably one of the better defensive reactions that I've seen so far. You're confused. Okay, so here we go. So, when the creature makes an attack against you, you use your reaction to foresee the danger. Rather than attacking your armor, which is your AC bonus, they are going against your perception, which for a investigator has gone up through the tiers to the point where by the time you can take this ability, you are a master at perception, meaning you get a +6 base plus your level to your perception. Then you add 10 to that. So at level 12, that's 18. 18 plus 10 is 28. Then you add your wisdom. So let's say your wisdom is 3, for example, right? So that'd be 31. So whatever your AC happens to be, if it is less than 31, as a reaction, you can jump up your boost. You can boost the difficulty to hit you as a reaction, which is freaking amazing. Which is actually, like I said, really high. So yeah, big maths. So yeah, I hope that cleared it up a little bit, Christina. Hey, Brune, good to see you. Welcome in. How often can you use the reaction? You can use it once per round. That's pretty much it. But, again, you generally need it on the first attack, because the first attack that gets made against you is at the highest attack bonus, but then every following attack afterwards takes a -5 penalty. So even once per round, it depends on how many targets you've got. Yeah, it's still a big boost. Alright, let's see, where are we at now? Just as planned, a free action once per hour. In the blink of an eye, you calculate your enemy's movement and know exactly where to aim for your next blow. If your next action is to devise a stratagem, you can roll a d20 twice and take the higher result. What the fuck? Okay, now we're starting to step into the, this whole thing. So devise a stratagem. So for those of you who want a clear, concise thing, here is a d20. I choose this target, who I believe is associated with my investigation. But hey, you know what? Let's say he's not. You are a person of interest. I'm going to do the thing. Okay? You the thing. Devising a stratagem. I'm going to roll a d20. I have rolled a 15 on my dice. Meaning, if I hit you, if I go to attack you, I get to use that 15 for my next attack. Alternatively, with just as planned for a free action, I'm going to roll a second one. And guess what? I rolled a 19. So I'm going to use the 19 instead. So that would be it. It's literally a free, a chance to use a device, because, oh my god, so many words. Devise a stratagem sucks when you roll low, because you have to use that d20 roll for your next attack. So sometimes it's easier to just miss your attack or do something else, which is cool, and I like the fact that it encourages you to do something different. But the fact that this now allows you to roll twice and take the higher result, that's going to be a thing of the past. So, yeah, level 12. Level 12 is where they put all the shit at. Make them sweat. Your line of questioning lets the subject know that you can see right through them. When you succeed at using pointed question, the target also is frightened. Nice, good. That's a good one. Reason rapidly. You instantly use 5 recall knowledge actions as a single action. If you have any free abilities that would trigger on recall knowledge, you can't use them with this action. Okay, fair. Oh, so that's it. You just recall knowledge 5 times. Interesting. I mean, I guess I could see that being interesting, as like you process that and you get 5 bits of information in a single round. Especially if you are, especially if you're, if you are, dang it! Sorry, someone in chat just distracted me a little bit. Especially if you are giving 1 piece of information with every knowledge check, having 5 bits of knowledge about a creature makes a huge difference, makes a massive difference. So, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. She does look cool. This person does look cool. The sample investigators. This is the alchemical one, I believe. So yeah. Also, by the way, can I say that I do greatly approve of the fact that they have these pre-built investigators, so that you can, like, just, if you are brand new to the game, you can just go to one of these pages and just select a good build and go with that. I do like the fact that they come with these. Alright, shared tincture, use quick tincture, an item you create remains. Okay, so basically, you create a potion, instead of it fading away if you don't consume it, you can give it to someone else and make use of it. So, yeah, there you go. Surgical shock. With a few well-placed jabs of your fist, you render an opponent disoriented or ungainly. Attempt a medicine check, or give them clumsy, stupefied. It's pretty good. Yeah, okay, cool. So, surgical shock. So, more of a combat-based thing. Yeah, definitely more of a combat-based thing. I like it. It means that they don't have to miss out. And there is... the Investigator does have some, if not a lot, of combat ability. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so Investigators have a lot of skills, a skill feat every level, a reasonable amount of combat, but you do need to specialize or train in it a little bit. Great roleplay. These dudes, for me, in the back of my head, I feel these guys are going to be the Neo Bards. Do you know what I mean? Like, Bards in 3.5 and earlier editions have always been considered to be the mid-class. They have spells, they have, you know, diplomacy and roleplay, they have a little bit of combat, they have the boosts and the auras and stuff like that. They were considered to be the jack of all trades, the master of none. Investigators seem in my mind to be reaching and touching on that as well. They feel like they have a little bit of everything. They feel like they're capable, depending on which way you take the path of the Investigator. And I love this, because for me, a Pathfinder, the actual person or the actual organization in the actual campaign setting, would almost certainly be an Investigator, you know. So it feels like the Investigator is getting a ton of love and is slowly, if not already, being poised to be the Pathfinder iconic. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that. I feel like more than anything else, the Pathfinder iconic is going to be the Investigator. That's how I feel, yeah. Sugar and salt. I don't know what that means. Okay. I am being teased by people. It's me having to live my life constantly ridiculed and mocked. Nah, it's not. I'm not being ridiculed and mocked. Not yet, anyway. It's too early. And Rob's busy. Okay. Plot the future. Spend 10 minutes contemplating the uncanny prediction of how events will play out. Choose a particular goal or activity you plan to engage in within a week, or an event you expect might happen within a week. You analyze whether it's likely to come to pass or highly unlikely. Interesting. Choose a particular goal or activity you plan to engage in within a week, or an event you expect might happen within a week. Interesting. I don't know how useful that'll be, but that is very interesting. To basically say, the Queen's coronation will okay, I'm going to go to the Queen's coronation. What is the likelihood that the Queen's coronation will take place, you know, X? You know. But, you know, yeah. And then if the answer is yes, there will be, then, you know, you get that. So, I do, again, we're going back to that whole thing of the GM needing to be very transparent with this particular class. Yeah, sorry, I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to process it. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of where this is going to be useful. So, plotting the future means you take 10 minutes to determine something that you are going to do in the future within a week, or something that is going to happen within a week. And then the GM says whether this is something that is likely to happen, something unlikely to happen, highly unlikely to happen, or highly likely. So if you turn around and say something like, I'm going to go renew my driver's license, the GM goes, well, I know that there's a meteorite that is going to strike the DMV today. So I think it is highly unlikely that you are going to get your driver's license this week. And then it's like, oh no, but why am I highly unlikely to go get my driver's license? You know, and then you're now on your plot. So that I think is going to be it. So I think Plot the Future is about learning what you need to in order to pursue a lead as an investigator later on. That's what I'm going with. Hey, Classic Sam! Good to see you, bloody beautiful legend, you. G'day, guys, and welcome. My name is Michael. I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer, and today we are doing Dag Reads because Dag is literate, and we're reading the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Player Core 2 book. We are reading the Investigator and going through and learning a little bit about this class and its revisiting. If you have any questions or have any thoughts, hey, frickin' ask. This is also a very casual hangout, so if you have any questions about Pathfinder, about role-playing, about all this other stuff, let me know and have a chat. Oh, and also, if you're going to Gen Con, because, you know, I mean, hey, why not? If you're going to Gen Con, I will be at Gen Con. I'm flying out in 2 days, which is going to be an awesome 18-hour flight to come and see folks there. So if you guys do want to come and hang out with me, check out the events by Careful Cantrip, or if you want to see me on stage with Dingo Doodles, I will be there live with her, Felix, and Gothy for their Sans show thing. So yeah, go check that out. Sam, what have you been up to? Tell me all your things. Finished interviewing baddie bards. Ooh, I've not heard of the baddie bards. I will have to look them up. But let's give Classic Sam a quick shout out here. Classic Sam, a wonderful and amazing sweet bean. Big fan of Sam and all of the work that she does over on her channel from her place in New York. So please go and check her out and go see all the cool stuff that that she gets up to. Woo! Yeah, Sam is awesome. Sam is very awesome. All right, moving on. Sense the Unseen. Reaction. You failed to seek. When you look, you search like if you fail to, you automatically sense undetected creatures while you're seeking, that making them really hidden to you. Ah, okay. Sense the Unseen. So you fail a search check. You fail to find something. But if there are any undetected creatures in the area, you immediately become aware of their presence. That's an interesting one. I like that. I think that's going to be good. I think that's really good. Then we have the Strategic Bypass. Your plans account for where your foe's resistance, enabling you to strike a telling blow. When you hit a strike on a creature, you substitute your attack with the device stratagem. You ignore resistance equal to your intelligence modifier for each resistance that applies to your attack. Nice! Okay, that's pretty cool. So you shave off some of their resistances. So now we're looking at investigations, learning information about what they're resistant to, and now overcoming them using the device stratagem. So the more you focus on learning about this individual, the better your character's abilities function. And the more you start stripping away from them and their power to give yourselves your boost. So, yeah. That's pretty dope. I like that. Didactic Strike. Didactic Strike. When you find glaring weaknesses, yada yada yada. When you share stratagem, you can designate 10 allies. The foe is off guard from the first attack from each one, and each ally's first attack deals extra precision damage if it hits. Alright, so now we're looking at some really good teamwork stuff here. So that's pretty cool. Implausible Purchase. So this is, again, that ability. You get a feat where you just pretend like, you know, after a minute of rifling around, you have something that's useful to the situation. It seems impossible, but you've analyzed every angle and are able to keep pulling exactly the item you need, even in far-flung locations. You can use Prescient Planner even if you've already used it after purchasing goods, and you can use it as a single action instead of 2 actions, during which you can use the Interact to draw the item. In addition, 5 times per day, you can use Prescient Planner to pull out a common consumable item of level 6, of 6 levels lower than your cost. So, yeah, basically, again, you just keep pulling stuff out. Now you can do it as a single action. Just be like, whoa, yeah, I have this thing. It's like, we need a crowbar. Sweet. Crowbar. Done. Yeah, basically MacGyver. You can basically MacGyver your way through this. Ah, man. Ah, that would be such a cool character, playing an investigator who's MacGyver. Ah, so good. I'd really love that. Okay, reconstruct the scene. This one I'm excited about because I love the Arkham series Batman stuff. You know, like all of the original Batman. What's it called? Like, you know, the detective mode stuff where everything would just like transform, and you'd be like, "Ooh, a clue over there." Clue over there, haha, and then once you found all the clues, it then replays what exactly happened. So I want something like that, because I know that in Pathfinder First Edition, the Sleepless Detective, a prestige class, got you that. So I haven't read it yet, but fingers crossed. Let's see, let's see it. Okay, you spend 1 minute surveying a small location, such as a single room, to get an impression of the events that occurred in the last day. This involves moving about the area and studying footprints, the placement of objects, spilled drinks and blood, and so forth. You get an indistinct mental impression of significant events that happened there. This gives you clues and details of the past, including the overall events and their time frame, but it is not a perfect record. This also isn't enough to identify who was involved with these events if you weren't already aware of the person that was there. As determined by the GM, you also pick out various seemingly small details that could serve as larger, important clues, and you can use pursue a lead, like a memorable weapon or someone using a murder of the type of cloak. Like a memorable weapon someone used for a murder, or the type of cloak someone wore when passing through. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 7 on satisfaction for that one. You can't tell who it was, which is fine, because, I mean, again, in the older version, you could, like, the blueprint, kind of like, you look at the footprint, and it's like, yes, it's a, you know, a hobgoblin, you know, he's 36 years old, you know, has a mustache. Somehow you figure it out from the footprint, but that is what the other one was. This is still just as good. This still kind of creates the scene, and you can kind of even play it out as a GM, like, cinematically that way, which I think would really be cool. But, yeah, I do like the idea that they include things like, you know, leaving bits of fabric behind or tiny little clues that you would otherwise miss. So that's pretty rad. That is pretty rad. Oop, sorry. Oh no. There we go. Oh no, what'd I do? Phantom, come back here. What are you doing? Okay, let's see. Simply Haley. Yes, the Arkham games are so good. And I'm so pissed off that the new Arkham game is only going to be in that fucking virtual reality headset. Mad. Super mad. Can't even begin. Okay, let's catch up with chat. I would love to do a changeling for Quantum Leap. Oh, that'd be cool. That's a really cool idea. I love Quantum Leap. I used to love sliders, though. Quantum Leap was good. I enjoyed it, but I was always a big fan of sliders. I don't know why. I don't know why compared to everything else. Okay. Okay, yeah, I love that show. It was such a good show. Okay, next one. Lead Investigator. Clue them all in. So this is probably another one of those friend and allies type thing. You spend a minute briefing up to 4 allies about one of your open investigations. Those allies gain the same circumstance bonus on your pursue a lead. Okay, that's cool. This bonus lasts until you cease pursuing the lead or for 1 day. Oh, okay, it's cool. So instead of giving that bonus as you need it via circumstance to circumstance, you now have it last for a day. So that's actually pretty cool. This doesn't confer any other benefits from pursuing the lead that you normally get. Okay, so that's fine. So it's still a bonus, you know, but there it is. Gonna wash off your makeup and see you at Gen Con. Hey, yep, likewise. We'll see you there. Definitely be sure to come say hi. I would love to catch up with you proper. Yes, I can't play 99% of VR games because it triggers my anxiety so badly. Oh, I'm so sorry. I tried the Batman game once and couldn't make it past the very opening, not even the game. Oh, that sucks, yeah. I just don't have one, and I don't have the space to do that as well, like, you know. I mean, honestly, also, just being honest, I, like, everything here at the Dead Aussie Gamer channel, I am always open and honest with. Everything I get donated to goes towards my house bills, right? That's literally it. This is my full-time job. I don't have it in me to ask or to raise funds or work towards buying something like a VR headset. Like, that is just a huge expense for what I think is going to be very little gain for my audience, for myself, you know. And it's just a vanity thing for me. It would be entirely vain. You know. Does that mean I wouldn't want to go over to a friend's house and play it? Absolutely not. I would totally go over to someone's house and play some VR. But yeah, no, just not happening for me, I'm afraid. Yeah. They see hoof prints in Schoolie. I assumes horses. Mulder assumes zebras. One of them is bound to be right. That's true. That's very true. Okay. The Trickster's Ace. Reaction. You specify the trigger when making your daily prep. When making your daily prep, you must specify a trigger for this reaction using the same restrictions as triggers for a readied action. You also choose a single spell from the Arcane, Divine, Occult, or Primal list from level 4 or lower. The spell can't have a cost, nor can it have a casting time of more than 10 minutes. The spell must be able to target a single creature, and you must be a valid target for it. Whether from a jury-rigged magic item, deductions of a study of magic interactions, or other means, you have contingencies in your back pocket for desperate situations. When the trigger occurs, you cause the spell to come into effect. The spell targets only you, no matter how many creatures it would normally affect. If you define particularly complicated conditions, such as determined by the GM, the trigger may fail. Once the contingency is triggered, the spell is expended until your next daily prep. That's pretty dope. I like that, because you can do stuff like Trickster's Ace. I'm going to cast Resurrection on, whatever level 4 spell equivalent, but like I can cast a heal spell on myself. I'm going to use it as a 3 cast spell, because it doesn't say you can't use it as that. And then, does it have to target you? Must be able to target a single creature. So it must be able to target a creature, and you must be a valid target for it. So those are the only 2 things. So an aura of healing could be like, when I hit 0 hit points, or maybe when I hit 1 hit point, or maybe when I hit like lower than 10 hit points, all of a sudden, boom, this aura heals out and heals everyone. So that's a really cool one. I like that contingency. And because it comes from any spell class, that's also pretty dope. And you can change it every day too. Ah, I love that. That's actually really cool. Alright. Level 20. Everyone's a suspect. You're so suspicious that you meet up and you keep influence on how to defeat everyone, even your own allies. After interacting with a creature for at least 1 minute, you automatically pursue a lead with that creature as a subject. You can have any number of such leads at any given time, and when you pursue a lead again, you don't give up these automatic subjects. Wow! Okay, so your level 20 ability is you are Batman. You turn around and you go, you're a suspect, and you're a suspect, and you're a suspect, and you're a suspect. And then you get bonuses against everyone. Okay, that's fair, I guess. Just the facts. You fundamentally understand everything to a point where your research can't possibly go wrong. You're permanently quickened and can use the extra action to recall knowledge. In addition, you gain the following benefits with recall knowledge. Your recall knowledge is no longer secret. When you recall knowledge, you use the outcome for the degree of success. If an effect such as dubious knowledge will give you inaccurate information, you know which one is inaccurate. When one of your allies recalls information against false knowledge and shares that information with you, you also know that information is inaccurate. Nice. Okay, so yeah, just the facts. That's pretty cool. So that is... So hold on. You're permanently quickened and can use the extra action to recall knowledge. Doesn't say you must use it. So that means permanently at level 20, you get 4 actions. Which I imagine most of the time... most of the time it would be used for your devise a stratagem, I think. So devise a stratagem, then get your 3 actions. Maybe that's how it is. At level 19, they should put their parents in a safe house to avoid the Batman effect at level 20. Yes indeed. All right, and that brings us to the end of the Investigator. So let's analyze. What can we say about the Investigator? Well, straight up, again, like I said, I think the Investigator is, in my opinion, the iconic Pathfinder. If you are playing Pathfinder as a Pathfinder, then you want to be an Investigator. I think you have way too much to gain from being one compared to, say, a Bard or any of the other fighter stuff. Mastering and knowledge of their history, having the skills, always having something in your back pocket to be able to pull out and do stuff. This, for me, is the quintessential spirit of a Pathfinder. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Pathfinder is in Pathfinder, the Pathfinder Society is a group of individuals who set upon sending agents across the world to observe history, to collect magic artifacts, and to bring this information and these dangerous relics to Absalom, where they are kept for reasons by a council of 10 great and wise elders known as the Decemvirate. Now, recording information, gathering knowledge, knowing when events are going to happen, being able to resourcefully adapt to any situation you happen to be in. These are huge parts of the mechanics behind the Investigator. So I am now almost convinced, if you're going to play a Pathfinder, these guys are going to be what you're at. For sure. It's so much better than D&D Investigator. This one gives really good incentives to use your abilities and play it. In the D&D version, they often tend to fall back like into rogue abilities. Yeah, well, to be fair, that's what Pathfinder's original version of this did. Now, however, we have like the actual pursuing a lead where you actually have to ask questions, and a lot of the stuff geared towards creating a case that you are looking into, and everything you're doing should be you building a case for something. I think that's great. Even if you were dungeon delving. Like, if you're dungeon delving, let's go with the Crypt of the Everflame. Great adventure. You're looking into some stuff. You're going dungeon delving. Crypt of the Everflame. You're trying to prove yourself. You might ask a question of what secrets for Cassin, the leader of our village, lie in wait in the Crypt of the Everflame. Or where is the Crypt of the Everflame? Or where is the Everflame? That might be a question. And now these questions become pursuing a lead. So when you arrive and you're like, where is the Everflame? It might be, there are skeletons in here. Oh my god. Well, thankfully, these skeletons represent the, what is the history here? What has happened here? And now I get a few bonuses in regards to that. Devise a stratagem against these creatures. Are these creatures related to what happened here? Well, actually, yes, they are. They are the skeletons of the former bandits that used to be here. And you start learning information. And you start digging into the roleplay element of your game in a way that you've never been able to do before. So, in terms of like the change between Pathfinder's first edition and second edition, the Investigator is probably a 10 out of 10 for me. Are the army mummies in China? Yeah, basically the terracotta warriors and stuff. Where did the last adventurers who visited this place go wrong? Avoid mistakes and traps. Yeah, brilliant. That's an amazing way to use it. Absolutely, cannot agree more. Cannot agree more. So yeah, all right, Investigator. Seriously, 10 out of 10. I think an Investigator may be one of the next things I play. To be honest, just based on that. All right. The monk. We're up to the monk. The monk. The strength of your fist flows from your mind and spirit. You seek perfection, honing your body into a flawless instrument and your mind into an orderly bastion of wisdom. You're a fierce combatant, renowned for martial arts skills and combat stances that grant you unique fighting moves. While the challenge of mastering many fighting styles drives you to great heights, you also enjoy meditating on philosophical questions and discovering new ways to obtain peace and enlightenment. Oh, no worries, Christina. Have a good night. Mwah. Love your face. You know what? Before I get into this, I am going to order some food. Why? Because I am hungry. Dag is hungry, and Suze has gone to a picnic in the morning. I did not go. I decided that I wanted to be here with you fine people. Let's see. What do I want? Ooh, you know what? I know what I'm going to get. Oh, but that was so delicious. No. Okay, I need to be good. I need to not overextend myself. Because I'm still trying to lose weight and still trying to work out and all this other stuff. Okay. I am going to get a burrito. Because I was going to get like a big, like, delicious juice or something. But I realized that if I do, then I would... Ooh, no, that's fine. I've got orange juice. What am I talking about, Michael? Calm down. Yeah, just the burrito. Alright, there we go. Channel your inner Yogi Bear. I'm off to steal some picnic baskets. Hey, boo-boo buddy. What was the ranger's name? Was it Dave or Dan? I do not remember. Not a pie. No, not a pie today. No pie today. Alright, there we go. You know what? I'm going to get a pie for later on tonight, too. That way I do not need to worry about lunch or dinner. There we go. Alright. Ranger Smith. Ah, Ranger Smith. Raven with baubles. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you. Okay, order is received. It will be here in half an hour. Very well. Okay, done. Alright. Back to the monk. So, key attributes of strength and dex, which we always expect. Hit points of 10, which means they are a fighter class. So, just to clarify, 6 is usually your wizards, your spellcastery type things. 8 is pretty much the mid-range, where most people live. 10 is your fighters and stuff like that. And 12 is exclusive to a big old barbarian. And hopefully, when the new martial classes come out, because there are 2 new martial classes coming out, the Guardian might be also a D12 as well. That'd be really nice to see. Okay. Proficiencies, yada yada yada. Trained in perception, expert in all saving throws. Okay, that's tough, but sure, makes sense. No automatically learned skills. That's interesting. Trained in simple weapons and unarmed weapons. Defense unarmored. Expert in unarmored. Oh, untrained in all and expert in armored. Okay, interesting. So high AC, low skills. So yeah, so obviously just from the get-go, I mean, I know this is the case, okay? I'm not a freaking moron. This is definitely speaking combat class. We aren't seeing much in the way of skills. We aren't seeing much in the way of like versatility in terms of weapons. There's a huge focus on simple, unarmed, and unarmored combat. And yes, indeed, I said expert in fortitude, expert in reflex, and expert in will. So, yeah, they fuck around. Whoa. Monk, where to punch. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, here's the interesting thing. Before we get into it, monks for me should also have been changed to martial artist. Because the thing is we always think of monks, and I want everyone in chat here to play this game with me. When you imagine a monk, what type of monk do you imagine? They do not find out. What type of monk do you imagine? Do you imagine karate? Do you imagine kung fu? Do you imagine taekwondo? Do you imagine Brazilian jiu-jitsu? What do you imagine when you think of a monk? Aang. Aang? Sure. So, I mean, okay. Aang is a bald kid with wind powers. I mean, yeah, I guess he's a monk. So you're thinking of like a Buddhist monk, like a religious monk. Yeah. Not a Friar Tuck, not a Protestant monk. No. But we're thinking of like, the meditative Buddhist monk, kind of thing. Bald head, plain robes, Tibetan warrior. Right. But here's the thing. Kung Fu monk. Yep, Kung Fu monk. But here's the thing. Why exclude martial artists such as sumo wrestlers or people who not only do Shaolin, but people who do, let's say, a Savat or Jeet Kune Do, or, like there's so many different styles that you could use for unarmed striking and for using your thing. Bar brawlers, okay, yeah, so the brawler was a archetype from first edition. We won't talk about that, but yes, exactly, brawler, bare knuckle boxing, like there's so many different unarmed styles of combat. To say that it is a monk always invokes the idea of the Shaolin Buddhist monk. Yeah, mix free fantasy MMA. Exactly. That's exactly it. Now. I do know something ahead because I did very briefly catch a glimpse of it. There is a martial artist dedication now in this book, Marcus. Martial artist is a dedication in this book. But why is the martial artist a dedication and not the base class? That's my question. So, not that I have a problem with it. I'm just putting the questions out there. Asking the real things. It's fine. Anyway. So, yada yada yada, same thing. We have our tree. The tree follows a certain pattern. We are going to ignore a lot of the stuff that is across the boards, and we are going to be looking, trying to look ahead at the thing here. So, ancestry background, attribute, yada yada yada. Flurry of blows. Here we go. One action. Make 2 unarmed strikes if both hit the same creature. Combine the damage for the purposes of resistances and weaknesses. Apply multi-attack penalty to these strikes as normal. As a flourish ability, you can use Flurry of Blows once per turn. So, basically, you make 2 attacks. You still have the -4 penalty because it's an unarmed strike. -4 penalty on your second attack, but it only costs you 1 action, meaning you then have 2 more actions still remaining. Pretty basic, pretty good. I do like it, and I do also like the fact that it combines the attack damage for the purposes of damage reduction and resistances and stuff. So that's really cool. Okay. Okay, let me just look at this here. Alright, powerful fists. Okay, so more damage with your fists, which is always good, because a D4 is not fun. And you get that level 1, which is nice. Skill, general, increase your movement. You get a plus 10-foot move speed when you're not wearing armor. Makes sense. Mystic strikes, your fists become magic, allowing you to get past resistance. However, you still need an item such as the hand wraps of mighty blows to gain runes and increase your stuff. Makes sense. Skill increase, ancestry fee increase, expert strikes. Yeah, cool. Perception, expertise, path to perfection. Oh, you choose. Okay, it's cool. So as you level up, you choose your saving throws to go up. Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. Weapon specialization, metal strikes. You treat your fists as cold iron and silver. Monk expertise. Yeah, DCs go up. Path of Infection. You pick another saving throw. Cool. Grace Mastery. Yep, you increase all your stuff. For specialization. Yep, cool. Adamantine strikes. Your fists basically count as adamantine. Graceful Legends. Your proficiency in unarmored goes up. Perfect form. On your first strike of every turn, if you roll lower than a 10, you can treat all attack rolls as 10. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's a pretty damn good 19th level cap. You can no longer roll lower than a 10 on your attack rolls. Neat. But here's the thing. How does that work if you roll a fumble? So you roll a natural 1. The natural 1 counts as if you had rolled a 10, but still gets treated as one step lower than what you would have gotten at a 10. Maybe. Food for thought when I have that at the table. All right. See, yeah, that's what you think of monks. So monks, yeah. So monks basically boost up their speed, their attacks, their basic stats, and all their saving throws go up pretty damn quick. So, you know, yeah, seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, it doesn't say OG. It doesn't say if what happens in the event of a natural 1. I guess we'll just have to guess. All right. Nightcon, sleep well, my friend, and hopefully we will. Are you going to Gen Con? I can't remember. I'm not paying attention to anyone who's going to. I mean, I am paying attention to Gen Con, but you know, with an 18-hour flight, I try not to memorize things. But yes, I know I'm going to see Cass. I know I'm going to see OG. Am I seeing you? Sadly, can't. Have to use my time for work. Fair. Well, nonetheless, I will make sure to take lots of photos. Oh, for a wedding! Oh, well, I don't know whose wedding it is, but I hope it is fun. God, it's not going. Aw. OG will not be there? Oh, OG's not there. Nah, OG will be there. I'll go there. I'll be like, where's OG? I'll get a cardboard cutout, and I'll make like a little OG, put a little tag on it and everything. Jen! Hi, Jen. Sad faces. Oh, I'm just teasing OG. Just pretend I'm always around the corner. Look, try living in Perth, and everyone is just around the corner. All right. Would there be any point for monks to have weapons if they have... sorry. Would there be a point for monks to have the weapons they have in that image? I'm not well versed with monks, but I'm assuming they're primarily unarmed fighters. Yes, they are primarily unarmed fighters. I'll need to find Nerd Witch at some point. I don't know who that is. So I don't know how to find them. But I would like to. But let's look at the weapons here. So first and foremost, having a look at... Huh. You are right, Redial, thinking about it. Because even Flurry of Blows specifically says unarmed strikes. So, I'm thinking... Oh, cool. So there's, in this little sidebar here, there's a bunch of different unarmed strikes you can make. But, okay. So here's my thoughts. I think there's going to be, somewhere along the line, something that allows you to use... Thank you. Something that allows you to use monk weapons in place of unarmed strikes, Redial. That's kind of my thought. Because originally, Flurry of Blows and all things like that, originally included that monk weapons count for the purposes of these particular abilities. So things like a quarterstaff or yada yada yada. What Sanjan has here is a temple sword and maybe what looks to be a dart, a throwing dart or something that he would tie a rope to and then swing around like a spike on a rope. That's my thoughts on that at the moment. We'll have to have a look and see. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be very weird that the iconic monk has a bunch of weapons he's never going to use. That is how I feel. All right. Let's have a look at the feats. Also, by the way, the art is done by Wayne Reynolds, who is an amazing artist who does stuff for like Magic the Gathering and other things as well. And he is well known for having like a very busy outfit for a lot of the characters that he makes. So yeah, like Sangen's always had just a ton of stuff. And if you really want to see someone with a busy outfit, have a look at Google the Cavalier or the Thaumaturge. So much stuff. All right. Crane stance. The crane stance. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go extra level here. For those of you who didn't know, I mean, some of you do, some of you don't. I used to be a professional martial artist. I used to be a trained professional martial artist. I used to do tournaments. I used to do the whole thing. And I knew a lot of stuff growing up. I learned a lot of it. I studied at various dojos, things like that. So I'm gonna give insight into these styles and things that I know, and I'm going to then read how close it is to it. So first of all, the crane stance, made popular by the Karate Kid. The crane stance is a high-risen wide stance that utilizes a lot of sweeping motions in order to deflect and manipulate motions around. Think of them like you're absorbing attacks the way that a bird would absorb the wind, and simply by spilling the wind off your wings, you would move and maneuver their attacks. There's a lot of mysticism surrounding things like the ability to fly or the ability to jump high and stuff like that. But what it actually was is you would actually have the ability to also extend and reach widely, such as kicking your leg quite high and bringing it down in a arcing motion, so that all of your limbs were able to redirect and move attacks as well as follow up with them. So that was the original thing. So let's see what this one does. Your arms flutter like a crane's wings. Good start. You get a +1 bonus to AC. Good. Yep. Cool. Dodging and deflecting. But the only strikes you can make are crane wing attacks, dealing 1d6 points of damage in the brawling group, and they have the agile, finesse, non-lethal, and unarmed traits. While in crane stance, reduce the DC for high jump and long jump by 5 when you leap. You can move an additional 5 foot horizontally or 2 feet vertically. So there you go. That's not bad. That's actually pretty well-rounded. I dig that. That's really cool. The dragon stance. Now, the dragon stance is probably the most iconic one that you see from Shaolin. 2 fists. You've probably seen the pose, like the big stance. The way that this works is very much they have. It's about using a lot of the broad shoulder attacks, clenched fists, as well as what's it? It's all about your center of gravity. Your like where the dragon's heart would be. That's kind of where you would do a lot of your combat. You would be running the energy, the kinetic energy of your body into your chest, into that center mass, and then using that mass to your fullest advantage. The attack and blows are heavy and swift and quite brutal, to be honest. So yeah. Silat is such a crazy martial art. Yes. Alright. So, dragon stance. You enter the stance of the dragon, making powerful leg strikes like a lashing dragon's tail. You make a dragon's tail attack that deals 1d10 bludgeoning damage. They are in the brawling category. They have backswing, non-lethal, and unarmed attacks. While in dragon stance, you can ignore the first square of difficult terrain while striding. Okay. So, dragon stance, I guess that does make sense. I honestly haven't studied dragon stance, so in terms of the sweeping tail motions, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, actually they did use a lot of sweeps, a lot of heavy kicks. It wasn't entirely a foot-based or a footwork style when I studied it. or when I was exposed to it. But the dragon tail was definitely something I do recall. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm imagining there's a lot more research that's gone into them for them, but for me, maybe. Monistic archer stance. Okay, monistic archers. So, in old-timey places, they had super long, massive longbows that they would use in order to fire at incredible distances. I remember they were just incredibly oversized. They would use them on horseback. They would use them firing across the mountain ranges and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I remember. You're unarmored and wielding a longbow, a short bow, or a bow with a monk trait. You enter a specialized stance unique from martial artists centered around the use of a bow. While in this stance, the only strike you can make are using longbow, short bows, or bows with monk trait. You may use flurry of blows with this bow. Nice. You can use other monk feats or monk abilities that normally require unarmed tracks with the bow when attacking within the first half range increment, so long as the feat doesn't require a single specific strike. Special, when you select this feat, you become trained in the longbow, yada yada yada. If you gain expert in strike. Nice. So basically, in the single feat, this gives you not only proficiency with the bow, but also allows you to substitute it for your unarmed strike. So I think that's what they're going to do with the other monk weapons as well. So yeah, things like nunchucks, staves, and things like that. I think we're going to see that later on. This is great. Love this. What I would have maybe liked to have seen, maybe, this is just, hey, this is just me, is maybe using the bow as a staff as well. Like being able to actually attack with your bow. That'd be really cool. I would have loved to have seen that. Yeah, that would be cool. Okay. By the way, my martial arts is actually the reason why I'm very cinematic in combat. Because part of being a martial artist is you have to have a very firm understanding of your body and how it moves and how it interacts with the world around you. So a lot of my characters and a lot of the way you'll hear me describe my attacks and things like that, that is because I am imagining how my body works at all times, whether I'm being a GM or a player. Yeah. Using a bow if someone gets all up in your face and beat them back. Yeah, exactly. Like for example, you flip the string over the back of their neck, you pull them back, and then jab the actual length of the bow forward, hit them, break their nose, flip that around, grab their arm, twist, onto the ground, whack, whack, whack. Yeah. I've seen some people do some crazy stuff with a bow. Mostly Hawkeye, but yeah, All right. Monistic weaponry. Here we go. You have trained with the weaponry of your monastery or school. You gain access to uncommon weapons with the monk trait and become trained in simple and martial monk weapons. When your proficiency for unarmed strike increases for the weapons as well. Blah 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 blah. If you have familiarity with an agile weapon or finesse weapons such as cat folks, etc., that also counts for that. You can also use melee monk weapons with monk feats. Yada yada yada. Anything that would require, though not if the feat requires you to use a specific type of attack, such as the crane stance. Okay, so that goes back to this little thing here, this little unarmed strike table. So if you have to use one of these strikes, you cannot use a monk weapon with it. That makes sense. Yeah, whack, whack, whack. Cool. All right, so there you go. Monk weapons. Mountain stance. All right, so the mountain stance is a variant on the horse stance, where it is about lowering your center of gravity, spreading your legs apart, and having firm footing. This also tends to tie in with styles like the Iron Shirt technique, where it is about being able to withstand an attack. So rather than dodging or deflecting, you would still dodge and deflect, but you would not be pushed backwards. You would not be forced backwards. You would advance if you could. Sumo, for example, has a very, very firm mountain stance style. Not mountain stance itself, but as they push forward, they have the weird thing about sumo is very agile, and the strength that they have is not only utilized very, very well, but their understanding of how to keep their body upright is phenomenal. Because in sumo, you lose if any part of your body other than the bottom of your feet touches the mat. So if you lean down and you place a hand, you're out. That's it. If you go to one knee, you're out. Doesn't matter. So they specialize in staying on their feet at all times. And so mountain stance, for me, captures that spirit. It is about being an unmoving mountain who will be unrelenting to the people who are attacking it. So that's where my head's at for that one. Smack, pow, bazoom. I've started learning martial arts, but my disability started getting in the way, so I had to stop. Yeah, that sucks. It always does. Yoga, meditation, always recommend. Even if you can't do martial arts the way that sort of some of the more hardcore martial arts go, it helps keep you fit in such a strong way. It's been a really long time since you've seen sumo, but that's a cool refresher. Yeah. All right, mountain stance. You're unarmored and touching the ground. Makes sense. You enter a stance of an implacable mountain, a technique created by the dwarven monks. Nice, love that. That allows you to strike with the weight of an avalanche and to block blows with your garments. The only strike you can make, falling stone unarmed strikes. They deal 1d8 bludgeoning damage. They're in the brawling group. They have forceful, non-lethal, and unarmored. While in the mountain stance, you get plus 4 to your AC, plus 2 to any defense against reposition, shove, and trip. Nice, love that. And other force movements. You have a dexterity modifier cap of your AC of plus 0, meaning you do not add your dex to your AC, and your speeds are reduced by 5 foot. The item bonus to your AC is cumulative with armor potency runes. Yes, nice, love that. So yeah, brilliant. This boosts your armor, makes it hard for you to move. Everything I'd want from a mountain stance. My sister and I used to pretend to play sumo, mostly like dramatic stepping pose they do at the beginning. Yes. Hakyoi! Man, if I had the size for it. Once upon a time I practiced wushu. Oh, nice. Man, it's been a long time since I heard that one. Not many people talk about wushu anymore. I used to love the wushu blades, the whatever you call them, the freaking, can't even remember what they were. They were like freaking milk carton sized fucking knives. Butterfly clicks make you feel like you're flying. Oh yeah, absolutely. Cass, so jealous. Wish I had the physical ability to do it. I mean, maybe build up and do something similar. Hey, you know what? It always starts somewhere. You know, the same thing. I always recommend people: yoga, meditation. Start with those two things, and once you get yourself into a limber state, super easy to tick out martial arts. And yoga is something you can do at home. Doesn't take any time whatsoever. The willow leaf swords. Hold on, let me have a look. Wushu blade. It was the Wushu Dao. Wushu Dao. It was like a cleaving sort of curved blade with a like kind of a sort of like a bit of fabric on the end of it. Yeah, it's the Dao blade. Yeah. Is there a martial art that's more movement based or about fluidity of body? Yes, Aikido. Spelled like that. Aikido is a lot of motion and a lot of flow. If crane style is to air, Aikido is to water. It is about moving your energy and your opponent's body around yourself. Tai Chi is also quite good. Tai Chi is more about moving your own energy than other people's. But yeah. I mean, Aikido is a lot trickier though. Aikido is still a very physical martial art. I mean, there's tons as well. Like, I mean, if you want to look Brazilian capoeira, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo, these are all good ones as well. So there you go. Hey, Senhouse, been asleep, stupid allergies. Oh, I'm sorry to hear. Allergies suck. Okay. We are covering the monk at the moment, Senhouse. Yeah. Yes, Tai Chi is nice and gentle if you have limitations. Absolutely. Okay. Let's keep moving. Key spells. First rank monk key spells. You have access to the removal key spells are summoned later on. Cool. So we have a new spellcasting class. So monk key. which is cool. And hopefully we'll actually get to see some of the mystic powers as well, which might lead into potentially the ninja, maybe? Who knows? That'd be kind of cool. We'll see. Stumbling stance. Okay. I gotta come back to this one. Just bear with me. My burrito just arrived. Okay. Okay. So, the next story to tell you. The stumbling stance. A very interesting name for it. The traditional style is known as Jingmao, or Drunken Kung Fu. I did study Drunken Kung Fu. I studied it for a little over 6 months. Because the style that I started with was Muay Thai, Thailand kickboxing, and I was very rigid. I had a very predictable style. It was very linear, and my sensei at the time wanted me to become a little bit more versatile. So he sent me to a dojo in Thailand for 6 months to train with some individuals who did like Shaolin martial arts, 5-style kung fu, drunken kung fu and things like that. And as I was like 14, 15 at the time, so I heard drunken kung fu and I was like, yes, I want to fucking learn drunken kung fu. But it was hard. You did not get drunk, but I learned so much from it. Basically, the nature of it is to create a series of motions that cause your opponent to have to fall into your pace. Because rhythm is so important in a fight. When you start to get into the right rhythm, and anyone who's watched boxing knows this, once you start getting into your flow, it's almost like clockwork. It's clinical. There is no thought happening. It's just your body moving as it knows it can. And Jingmo is about disrupting that, to not letting them have their pace, to being an obscure target, to moving around in a staggered fashion and landing these very surprising attacks from very bizarre angles. And the thing is people think that it's just lashing out randomly, like just whipping, but it actually isn't. The 3 styles that I learned were the Chinese cups, which were all about rotation, and with each rotation you also had your cup, which also you would use to grab. You would grab the wrist and you would guide it, you would twist it, you would bend it, and so that's what that one was. You then had the flute, the flute player. Now the flute player actually used a lot of elbows, a lot of extensions, and you basically did a lot of like rolling backwards and forwards. And then the Chinese jug, which was the kind of like you pretend like you were carrying a drum. And as this happened, hopefully you did actually have a drum, or you did have a weapon, and you would use larger motions to then give yourself momentum for bigger attacks. So it was a very, very wide and very, very open type thing, but you would also do things like you would drape yourself over someone like they were your buddy at a drinking thing, and then grab their head and then lean backwards and stuff. So the drum one was well, you've probably seen a lot more of that one in movies and things like that than anything else. It is super hard to learn. Like I said, I only did it for 6 months, so I in no way, shape, or form like perfected it or anything, but it did teach me a lot about changing up my pacing and learning different lines. And also, I learned some fucking gross things. Like, for example, do you want to know how to win a fist fight almost guaranteed every time? And that was, you straight up vomit on your fists and then start swinging at someone. Because nothing sobers you up more than not wanting to be touched by vomit. And that was something my teacher taught me. He's like, yeah, no, You vomit. What do you? Why? Why do you want to do this? It's like, no one wants to be hit by you. No one wants to come up and be hit by you. Yeah, most people would just run the fuck away or de-escalate. And that is the quintessential part of martial arts, to defend yourself. And what better way to defend yourself? And what does it cost you? Your hands get sticky with some vomit. Big deal. Much better than getting punched in the face. Makes so much fucking sense. You know? I mean, I don't recommend it because, of course, it's gross. Also, stomach acid. Depends on if you've eaten or not, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, my point is, it was fucking wild, right? Drunken Kung Fu is a wild style. So let's see what they did here with this. You enter a seemingly unfocused stance that mimics the movements of the inebriated bobbing, weaving, and leaving false openings and distracting your enemies from your true movements. While in the stance, you get a +1 bonus to deception to feint. Makes sense. Your strikes you can make are the stumbling swing, which is a d8 point of damage. Yep. And have the agile backstabber, finesse, non-lethal unarmed strike. If an enemy hits you with a melee strike in this stance, they become off guard against the next stumbling swing you make before the end of your next turn. Nice. So basically, it's about keeping your enemy off guard. I think that makes perfect sense. Obviously, it's not too crazy, but it's good. Yum. Absolutely. Okay. So, yeah, that again. I think it's a big burrito. That's a pretty average burrito. Maybe I'm just not as big as you think I am. Tiny little dag. Okay, so I think hey, what's up, dude? So I think drunken kung fu, the stumbling stance, is fine. Does the whole deception thing, does the whole off guard thing. I don't think they pushed it nearly as far as they could, but I enjoy it. I think it's gonna be great. How are you, my friend? Are you excited? I get to see you next week. Isn't that wild? I'll be in the meat space with none other than One Shot Questers. And guys, please bear in mind, our dear friend One Shot Questers is not only going to be at Gen Con, but he is also going to be at a booth of his own. Well, not on his own, and it's not of his own, but he's at a booth at Gen Con. So be sure to go and say hi to him as well. Please give your family a very, very big hug for me, and I cannot wait to see you as well, my friend. I will probably be messaging you the whole time that we're there. What booth are you going to be at, by the way? I keep forgetting it because actually no, hold on, wait. Yeah, there we go. Still got that. There you go. Booth 3047. I know I didn't turn that off. I'll probably reword it, but yeah, there you go. So yeah, go check out Duke. Yay. Yeah, we're talking about barfing on your hands before you get into a fight. That's what we're talking about, Duke. Just so you know. All right. We're also saying that, I used to be a martial artist, and as we're going through the monk, before I read it, I'm, kind of covering what the style is, from my understanding, and then reading it to see how close it is as well. Yeah. Be at the Game Theories table. Yes! Yes, please go visit at the Game Theories table. Okay, so next up we're looking at the Tiger Stance. Now, Tiger Stance is very commonly seen from things like Kung Fu Panda. I know it sounds weird, but bear with me. Lots of scratching, lots of heavy hits, but also, unknown, lots of palm strikes. So the forearm itself has a pretty sufficient amount of force, right? That's why elbows work so well. It's why forearm blocks defend so well. But the bottom of the palm actually connects directly to the bones on that forearm. And if you strike with a certain amount of accuracy, you actually create a battering ram through that. And if you target and hit well, that's kind of the nature of Tiger Strikes. Is furious, very heavy hits, very big hits, and the claws to grab onto clothes and move and shift and redirect people. Basically mauling them with your bare hands. That's kind of the nature of it. I heard a story once from the guy that I was studying with that somebody who studied Tiger Stance was capable of grabbing someone's collarbone and with brute force breaking their clavicle. And I was just like, fuck, that's nuts. But yeah, so grabs, claws, rakes, that kind of thing, but mostly also grabbing and redirecting them as well. So let's see how Tiger Stance fares up. You enter the stance of a tiger, making a tiger claw attack. 1d8 slashing damage, makes sense. Has the agile, finesse, non-lethal, unarmed strike, cool. On a critical success, if you deal damage with the target takes 1d4 bleed damage, as long as your speed is at least 20 foot. While in Tiger Stance, you can now step 10 foot. Beautiful, love it. And yes, McClover, it is one of in my opinion, it's the second worst place to in your body to break. If you break your clavicle, it attaches to all your lungs and stuff like that. But the worst place to break anything is actually the shoulder blade. If you break your actual shoulder blade, actually getting any kind of sling or patch or anything to keep it set and still while it's healing is the hardest fucking thing in the world. I've been fortunate enough to not have to deal with that, but but one of the guys I was training with did, and he was just in agony for like a month or two before he actually got stable enough to like strap it properly. Yeah, pretty nasty. Also sucked because he was kicked in the back super hard by a guy with a cheap shot, so didn't like that. But anyway, it is what it is. Okay, so Tiger Stance. Bleeding damage makes perfect sense. I'm not really seeing much in the way of the grappling. Like, Stumbling Stance, Tiger Stance, I thought there'd be maybe some element to grapple, but it doesn't seem to be one. Hopefully, maybe later on down the track, we'll get to see some grappling. That'd be kind of cool, but we'll see how it is. The Wolf Stance, not real. So I don't know. Okay, you know what? Before I say not real, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure there isn't a Wolf Stance. Yeah, no, Wolf Stance is a Pathfinder thing. So yeah, there is no such thing as Wolf Stance. If I had to guess, the closest thing I could think of is Wolf Fang Fist from Dragon Ball Z. The Wolf Fang Fist was just a series of attacks that were almost like a pack tactic attack, where you would just unleash attack after attack after attack after attack. So flurry of blows on adrenaline would basically be my thought. All right, let's find out what it is. You enter the stance of wolf, get low to the ground, and with your hands held like a fang, you make a wolf jaw unarmed attack, dealing piercing damage. They have the agile backstabber, finesse, non-lethal, unarmed strike. If you're flanking while in wolf stance, the wolf's jaws will also be able to gain the trip ability. Nice. So that kind of makes sense because in Pathfinder and D&D and stuff, wolves have a automatic trip attempt on their bite. So that kind of makes sense. Leg takedowns type of thing. That makes sense. But yes, not a real martial arts, and definitely not how I would do leg takedowns. You do not go down low with your fists to try and grab onto legs to drag them down. That is super dangerous because legs are usually twice as powerful as fists when it comes to hitting. And if you are that low to the ground, it is actually not very hard to knock you on your ass with a good, well-placed kick. So, yeah. Cool. Key terms. Let's just have a quick look here. Flourish. Yada, yada, yada. You can only use one flourish action per turn. Cool. Makes sense. Incapacitation. Yada, yada, yada. Makes it more difficult to... Oh, reduce the success of an attack. Ability with this trait can take a character out of the fight. But when you use incapacitation effects against a creature of a higher level, you reduce the degree of success from the attack by one step, and the creature improves the degree of success of saving throw by one step. Ah, Okay, so that's an interesting thing that I think I need to keep in track of. That'll be a hard one. Key spells. It's basically what we use our focus points for. Stances. That's the stances that we're in. We can only be in one stance at a time unless we get something for it. Venomous. These weapons inject poisons with every hit. Deals additional persistent damage, persistent poison damage. Okay, nice. Cool. All right, sweet. All right, crushing grab. Like a powerful constrictor, you crush your target with an unyielding grasp. When you successfully grapple, you can deal bludgeoning damage. Nice, that's a good one. Nice, classic. Oh, actually, you know what? Compared to the barbarian, let's have a quick look here. I think there's actually as much, if not more, monk stuff than there was barbarian stuff. I'm actually pretty sure of it. That's pretty dope. All right, let's keep going. Dancing leaves. You are as light as a leaf on the breeze. Ha ha ha. Fuck you. Whoever wrote that, fuck you. Freaking, I'm a leaf on the wind. Really? Piece of shit. Alright. When you leap, succeed at a high jump, long jump, increase the distance by 5 foot. When calculating the damage from falling, you don't count any distance falling while you're adjacent to a wall. Oh, that's cool. So you like put a hand on the wall and do the slide down. That's actually a very difficult technique. Doesn't work all the time. But you see it in a lot of like movies and stuff like that, like ninjas sliding down walls and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So you can jump across to another building, and if you miss, as long as you've got your hand on the wall, you can slide down harmlessly to the bottom. So that's pretty cool. Throw yourself in the down with dual barrel. That's funny. I like that. Yeah, barrel stance. That's pretty funny. I actually did create a martial art of myself for Pathfinder. It was called the Bulette style, and basically it was a character who had a burrow speed, and what he would do is he would grab someone and then burrow them into the ground and then drag them through the ground as part of their burrow speed, dealing bludgeoning damage to them as he's just holding on and just moving underground. So that was inspired by One Piece as well, by the way. So there you go. Alright, Elemental Fist. Bloody blah. Fist. Wait, what? Inner upheaval? Where's inner upheaval? Did I miss something? No. Inner upheaval. Hold on. I just need to skip ahead a little bit. Oh, inner upheaval will probably be a key power. So there we go. That'll probably be it. Okay. So, yep, using your key in order to deliver extra damage based on an elemental style. Makes perfect sense. Shooting star stance lets you throw shurikens at lightning speed. That's nice. You know, a lot of stuff that we've seen before, so I'm not going to delve too deep into it, but yeah. Nice. Stunning blows. Stunning fist. Very classic. We love stunning fists. Cobra stance. Okay, new stance. So the cobra stance, or the snake stance, is all about precision. It is about finding vulnerable weak points, vital points, and striking them hard and fast. The more common one that's actually used is below the sternum, in the solar plexus, where if you strike with enough force, and by the way, when you strike, if you strike with rotation as well, you basically take up that momentum and that energy and lash out. And if you do hit and strike it, it actually causes the lungs to suddenly force air outwards and basically like make it hard to catch your breath. If you've ever felt that sense of being winded, it's likely because you've taken damage there. But also things like jabs in the throat, the eyes. You know, even if you manage to, it's a hard one to do, but grab someone in their jaw by their tongue and sort of move them around, because the jaw actually has a lot of control. Snake style is all about precision and attacking the most vulnerable places to you. It's a tough one, but yeah. I did learn that one for like a couple of days, which was fun. But it was mostly like flexibility training, like learning how to actually, you know, sort of move and flow with your body. So it was kind of cool. It was very cool. All right, Cobra stance. You enter a tightly coiled stance with your hands poised as venomous fangs. When in this strike, the only strike you can use is the Cobra Fang unarmed strike. Deals piercing damage and has the agile, deadly D10. Jesus. So yeah, if you crit with it, they'll do D10 damage. Finesse, Unarmed, and Venomous trait. While in Cobra stance, you get a bonus to Fortitude saves and Fort DCs and gain poison resistance equal to half your level. Okay. Outside of the crit, because again, like you said, when you land that crit, it's a D10. So, interesting. I like it. I do. But there has to be a way for me to capitalize on making a critical hit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if it crits, it does great, but if it doesn't, then it's a D4, and that makes sense. Interesting. That's an interesting one. I don't know what to think about that. But yeah. Deflect projectile. Nice. Whack, whack. Deflecting projectiles, +4 bonus on ACs against triggering attacks. If the attack misses, you have deflected it. Cool. Flurry of maneuvers. Fantastic. You can use different maneuvers for your flurry, like that. Flying kick. This is single-handedly the most bullshit fucking power I've seen so far in 2nd edition, like the earlier version. Basically, you move up to your speed and you make an attack. That's it. No penalties, no nothing. Just go up and whop someone. And it is. I don't know if you ever want to see how that becomes a thing. Go watch it in Reign of Winter. Now the first version was broken as fuck. I'm curious to see how Flying Kick improves, if it does. You launch yourself at a foe, making a leap or attempt a high jump or long jump. At the end of the jump, if you're adjacent to a foe, you can immediately make a strike with an unarmed strike, even if the foe is in midair. You fall to the ground after the strike. If the distance you fall is no more than the height of your jump, you land upright and take no damage. 2 actions. That's actually good. You move, of which you can change your height, then you can get a hit in, then you land. That's perfect. I like that. I like that a lot. Guarded movement. Your guard is up even while moving, +4 circumstances against reactions triggering. Oh, so that's where mobility went. The feet. Is Flying Kick a thing real people can do? Yes, absolutely. Oh, I wish I could show you. Basically, there is this really cool video of a Taekwondo master. Well, no, a student actually. Kicking 1, 2, 3, 4, and then leaping and kicking a 5th wooden plank as people are standing on each other's shoulders holding boards of wood out. Yeah, so very, very possible. Flying kicks are a whole thing. Any major upgrades to Dragon Stance? We did Dragon Stance already. It's its own attack now at the moment. So yeah, big changes. They're no longer anything like they used to be. Alright, next up. Harmonized Self. Key spell. You can restore your health by tapping into your key. You gain Harmonized Spell Key spell. Okay, cool. So self-healing. Nice. Stand Still. This one's a good one. You strike at a foe when they try to flee. You hit them, and if you land a critical hit, you disrupt their action. Nice. Neat. But again, needing a critical hit for an effect is a tough sell. Yeah, it's a tough sell. Okay. Advanced Monistic Weapons. Your proficiencies go up. Cool. Advanced Key Spells. You gain Key Blast, Shrink the Span, and another 3rd rank key spell you have access to. So that's cool. Align Key. Reaction. Once per hour. You regain hit points equal to your level plus wisdom. Okay, that's pretty good. Crane Flutter. Here we go. Continuing on with the Crane style. You interpose your arms between yourself and your opponent, giving yourself an AC bonus against the triggering attack. If the attack misses within your reach, you can immediately make a wing strike and a -2 penalty. Perfect. So as we said, it's all about maneuvering, deflecting, and then following through with the attacks. Nice. Love that. Dragon Roar. You bellow, instilling fear in your enemies. Enemies within 15-foot emanation must make a will save against intimidation or be frightened. On your first attack against a frightened creature, you get a +4 to your damage. After the Dragon Roar, you can't use it again for a D4 rounds. So that is cool. That does make sense. One, I don't know if I care enough about the 1d4 rounds between. Like, I think if you spend the actions to roar, you should just be able to do it. And especially if they're temporarily immune for 1 minute. I mean, again, there's a lot of restrictions on that. Fun fact. that power is more akin to the lion stance than it is the dragon stance, unless I'm making that shit up. No, lion style kung fu. So lion style kung fu was built based upon the dragons from the Chinese dancing festival, and the roar was actually what they would do inside of the head. So as they would do so, they would have the megaphone, they would do the whole thing, but they would always put someone with like big lungs so that they can make a huge spectacle of it, right? But also, if you yell enough at someone, you can actually cause their organs to start feeling that vibration, and that's the strength in which they could do that sort of roar. So yeah, but it was called lion stance, not dragon roar. So I mean, but you know, obviously for the purposes of this makes perfect sense. Yeah. Okay. Mountain stronghold. Back to mountain stance. You focus on your connection to the earth and call upon the mountain to block your attack. You get +2 to your AC. Special, if you have this feat, the dexterity modifier cap increases from 0 to 1. Nice. More defense. It's exactly what you want. The 1-inch punch. The 1-inch punch, made famous by Bruce Lee in his style Jeet Kune Do. It was a style in which he would measure 1 inch away and manage to hit with speed and ferocity enough to knock not one but multiple people over within the span of that 1 inch. So that's a big one. You focus on your connection. You put all your force into a single mighty controlled blow. Make an unarmed strike. If you spend 2 actions, you deal an extra weapon die of damage. You can instead spend 3 actions, make an even more powerful attack, dealing a second additional die of damage on the hit. If you're at least 10th level, the initial doubles. If you did 4, yada yada yada. If you're at least 18th level, it triples. Damn! So yeah, just a single blow, you take all of your attacks and you focus them in on one hit. I love that. That's amazing. Now, obviously, you can't use that with flurry of blows. That makes perfect sense. But a single hit where you do double your weapon damage, which then potentially goes into triple your weapon damage, which then potentially goes higher later on. If you use the Cobra Strike and you land a crit with D10s, damn, that's gonna hurt. And because it's only one attack, it's only at your full base. So you are gonna hit at your highest thing. Whew. Alright, I think there is actually a way to make One Punch Man, nearly. Oh, especially if you do, especially if you have a striking rune as well. So 2d4 becomes 2d10. 2d10 becomes 4d10. 4d10 becomes 5d10. Which then becomes either 12 or 15 d10 at level 18 in a single blow, which is almost as big as a fireball on a crit. That's before doubling it. So that would then, if it did crit, it would double it. So that would be 24 to 30 d6 on a critical hit at level 18 with Cobra Strike and a One Punch. One Punch! And that's at level 6. So that's a pretty good one. That's a good one. I like that. Alright, return fire. You deflect the projectile, you snatch it out of the air, and you throw them back at it. Make sense? Like it? It's good. Lock it in. Oh yeah, you know what, Cass? I played a game of Starfinder ages ago, and I played a hey, Rock, good to see you. I played an ogre who had metal arms and stuff, and I made him like super strong and tough, and a group put like some C4 on a door to try and stop us from like charging at them. So I ended up charging at them, and I saw the C4. My radio guy told us, hey, there's a bomb on the other side of it, and I'm like, fuck it. And I turned around and I punched the door, and as I punched the door, I did X amount of damage. The bomb blew up and did X amount of damage. And I told the GM, like, hey, technically I did more damage than the bomb did. Does that mean the bomb's energy would be redirected and forced backwards because I hit harder? And he went, actually, yeah, physics-wise, you got the higher yield of damage, meaning that the bomb actually negates any of the energy going through, and the excess still continues onwards. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And so I blew up the door and then, like, launched it back in their direction, and everyone's like, oh shit. And they fucking ran. But yeah, no, one punch. Sounds good. Fireball. Punch a fireball. Yeah, can you imagine? It's like, yeah, I do 30d6 points of damage. You hit the fireball, you smash the actual fireball itself. It detonates, but it does so much damage, you just blow it away from the area of effect. Ah, so good. Ah, so good. All right. Return fire. Yep, threw down that one. Stumbling feint. So back to drunken kung fu. You lash out confusingly with what seems to be weak moves, but instead allows you to unleash deadly flurry of blows. When using flurry of blows, you can attempt a feint check as a free action before the first strike. On a success, instead of making the target off guard against your next attack, they become off guard against both attacks from flurry of blow. Okay, so basically a free feint attack, and then flurry of blows gets to attack you when you're off guard. So not bad, not bad. I mean, no, it is no one punch, but you know, it's good. It's good. Tiger Slash. Back into Tiger stance, you ferociously swipe, make a Tiger Claw strike, deals 2 extra weapon damage, 3 if you're 14th level, and you can push the target 14 inches away as if you had successfully shoved them. If the attack is a critical success, deals damage, add your strength modifier to the persistent bleed damage. Nice. Okay, cool. So again, now we're actually looking at that. You know, remember how I said like that kind of the thrusting palm thing? We're now looking at an extension of that to the shove. So that looks really cool. I like that. I think that's a good solid one. Water step. You can walk across water as long as you don't end in somewhere that doesn't support you. You can like walk across water. So that's cool. Each one is tied to a specific stance. Yeah, so at 2nd level, you get to pick a stance, and then as you level up, 6th level, 8th level, etc., there is a style that'll match that stance as well. So you can follow an entire tree, or you can learn multiple different ones. There's a bunch of different things. Whirling Throw. Oh, we see this one for the Barbarian. Yada, yada, yada. You make an athletics check against their 4 DC, you grab hold of someone, you swing them around, and then you huck them, potentially dealing damage to people around you, etc., etc., etc. So that one's a good one. So grab hold of them and you flick them around. Yeah, I like that. I like this one. Yeah, throws are always good. Yeah, yeet the enemy. That's basically it. Wolf Drag. You rip your enemy off their feet, make a wolf jaw strike. It gains fatal D12 for this strike, and if the attack succeeds, you knock your target prone. Nice. Okay. I can't remember what Fatal did as a trait. I don't remember what Fatal did. Alright, 8th level, Clinging Shadow. You learn Mystical Stance that transforms your key into sticky smoke that shrouds your limb. You gain Clinging Shadow. While in this stance, the Shadow Grasp attacks... the Shadow Grasps your... the Shadow Grasp attacks it grants are not so that you can use them as often as you like in the stance. Hold on. While entering the stance is a key spell, the Shadow Grasp attack it grants are not, so you can use them as often as you like while in the stance. Ah, okay, so that's another thing that we need to look at the key powers for. Iron Blood stance. You enter the stance of impenetrable iron, refusing to yield to any blow. You can make an iron sweep, unarmed strike. These deal 1d8 damage and are in the brawling group. They do non-lethal parry, sweep, and unarmed. While in the stance, you get resistance 2 to all damage. The resistance increases to 3, then 4, then 5. So, this is what we referred to before. Remember when I mentioned the Iron Shirt technique that went with the mountain stance? This is a rendition of the Iron Shirt technique. It is about taking blows. Alright, Mixed Maneuver. You leverage your logic martial arts, yada yada yada. Choose any 2 of grapple, reposition, shove, and trip. Both the attacks you choose against the same target or different creatures, but don't apply the multi-attack penalty until resolving both attacks. Ah! Cool. So you combine attacks. So I remember, I think Marcus was the one who asked about it before. About grabbing someone and then pinning them to the ground. Or maybe it was Neil. This is exactly what I was looking for. You make a trip attempt to knock him to the ground, then a grapple attempt to pin him. That is how it would work. This is a single one that does it, but there's no multiple attack penalty. That's brilliant. I love it. I'm already using this ability without actually giving the bonus for it, so that's cool. I like that. I think there is a multi-stance technique somewhere later down the track, Cass, so there will be a way for you to use multiple, I think. Pinning fire. You use flurry of blows to make 2 ranged piercing attacks against the same target. Yada yada yada. And if you hit them, you have to beat their reflex DC. And if you did, you pin them to a wall. Yeah, so that's cool. Like that one too. Projectile snatching. You pluck a missile out of the air. If you successfully defect it, you can immediately make a ranged strike against that target. Cool. Sweet. So again, just grabbing things out of the wall. Tangled forest stance. You extend your arms like gnarled branches with your foe's movements. You can make a lashing branch attack, which is slashing damage. You can act as if every enemy in your reach tries to move away, yada yada yada. Every enemy in your reach that tries to move away must make a reflex save, acrobatics check, or athletics check against your class DC, or be immobilized. If you prefer, you can allow the enemy to move. Ah, that's fucking rad. So basically, your entire threatened area becomes you can't get away from me. Oh, I love that. That is amazing. Oh, Marcus, we were just saying, I was trying to figure out who came up with the strategy in one of my games to do multiple combat maneuvers at the same time. I do use yeah. I mean, like I said, we're reading it, but we're also kind of like, you know, like you don't need to know the specifics until you're actually playing the character, you know. And it's all about just like, and this is how I read, by the way. This is how I do it. I will read it, but then I'll like be like, hey, what's the gist of this? What is the mechanic of this? And I don't even need to think about it again until someone plays it. And if someone does play it, then I'll learn it again, but I'll be somewhat familiar with how the mechanic works. So that's kind of where you know my head's at in terms of that. But yeah, I know it's one of you jamokers that did it, but you know, either way. All right, wall run. You run on walls. You defy gravity. Nice. You must grab the edge, grab a ledge, or end on a secure place. You can run on things, including waterfalls, if you have water step. So that's cool. I like that. All right, Wild Winds Initiate. Another key ability. You get Wild Wind stance. The Wild Wind spell. The wind crashes on your strikes. Not so that you can't use them as often as you like. So it seems like these stances are tied to key powers, and instead of the key power costing you a focus point, you can now use those things for free. So the same thing with the Shadow one, same thing with this one. So yeah. The thing is the way they've laid it out, because we don't have the key powers here already, it doesn't make sense. Because we don't know what those powers are. So, you know, this is one of those, like, you'd have to go back and forth and figure it out. But we're not going to do that today, sadly. Okay. 10th level. Cobra Envenom. You slightly dislocate your joints to lash out with devious intent and the power to envenom your foes. Make a Cobra Fang strike. Your reach with this strike is 5 foot greater than normal. This strike hits the persistent poison damage, increases it to 1d4. If you have these bonuses to improve your fort, you increase the DC by 1 to 2. Nice. Okay, cool. So, in terms of the snake style, I mean, you obviously saw it's like all about flexibility and stuff. So the lash, the actual lash to extend, you don't dislocate your shoulder, but the full extension is about keeping that limber wrist and like actually keeping that full extension, so that you've gone from having like a wider stance to a full-on one where your shoulder now gets added to the reach of it. So it's really easy to misjudge the length that you will actually reach with a Cobra strike. But there is talk of people who are like, their muscles and tendons are strong but supple enough that they can just stretch and get to the borderline of like dislocating and separating and then snap back. But that's like one of those mystic urban legend type things. So that's cool. I like that. That's cool. Knockback strike. You make a powerful blow. Make an armed strike, and if you hit, they make an athletics check and shove them. Uses the same multiple attack penalty as if... Oh, and it doesn't count towards your multiple attack penalty. Cool. So you make an attack, whack! And then you make an athletics check, that is not penalized, and they get shoved back. It seems like a lot of these feats are like that, where they allow you to do combat maneuvers without taking multiple attack penalties. So that is cool, because what that leads into is the monk is mostly about combos and shifting those combination abilities together. So I like that. Prevailing positions. You're targeted by an attack or attempt to reflex save. You leave the stance that you were in to gain a +4 bonus on the save. Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Nice little reaction there. Sleeper hold. You've grabbed or restrained someone. You pinch crucial nerves, make an athletics check. If you get a critical success, they fall unconscious. If you succeed, they gain clumsy till the end of their next turn. So basically, you just keep giving them clumsy until they pass out, basically. Interesting. Okay, cool. Wind jump. You gain the wind jump spell for the key ability, yada yada yada. Winding flow. Once per round. Any journey consists of more than simply reaching your destination. You use 2 of the following actions in any order. Stand, step, stride. Oh, cool. You can't use the same action twice. So, stand, step, stride. Interesting. Okay. And that's a single action to do that. Okay, interesting. Okay. Disrupt key. So this looks like an anti-monk thing. You block a person's inner life force, making an unarmed strike. If it deals damage to a living creature, they take 2d6 persistent void damage and are enfeebled. If you're 18th level or higher, the persistent void damage increases to 3d6. Wow. Okay, yeah, that's... And because it's persistent, it constantly is going to deal damage. So that's a pretty nasty one there. Dodging roll. You're a master in acrobatics. You take damage from an area effect that does reflex. You step and gain the resistance to all damage equal to your level. If you step out of the triggering area, the resistance instead is equal to your level plus dex. Okay, cool. Focus shot. So this is with your monastic archery. Make a ranged weapon strike against a target within your weapons for each first range increment, ignoring conceal and cover. That's pretty good. Oh, I love that. I love that art. That's a cool hit. Bam! Right in the jaw. Also, trolls have green blood. Good to know. Yeah, you have to be like, shh. Yeah. Improved knockback. You improve the distance. And if they hit an object, they take bludgeoning damage. See, the thing is I would have automatically assumed it took bludgeoning damage had it not been for that. That's just my thought. Yeah. Meditative focus. You can refocus and gain a focus point. Oh, gain all your focus points instead of 1. Oh, that's cool. Makes sense for a monk, though. Sing a lullaby. Yeah, that's true. Overwhelming breath. You control your breath, aligning your key, exhaling with considerable force, yada yada yada. Next action to cast a spell has the monk trait, has no duration, and the spell strike. Any strikes you make as a result of casting, ignore the amount of target resistance to physical damage equal to your level. Nice. Okay, so if you're using Ki, you can use Overwhelming Breath to cast a spell and deliver it through an attack. And if you deliver it through an attack, bam, you ignore physical resistance up to your level, which is pretty good. Hey, Tony, good to see you. Reflexive stance. You enter a stance without a thought. It's a free action. Nice. So free action, you can, when you roll initiative, as a free action, you enter a stance. That's good. No action taken to that, so that's good. Form lock. You have someone grabbed or restrained. Your ability to control your own ki empowers you to pressure others to resuming their true form. Attempt an athletics check to counteract a polymorph effect. If the target is somehow under the effect of multiple polymorphs, you choose which one to break. Damn! Okay. So yeah, you just grapple someone and you shake them until they fall out of their polymorph. Fuck, you do not want to do that to a dragon, though. The dragon's walking around as a person. Reveal yourself! Reveal yourself! Yeah, that could be fun. Alright, Iron Blood Surge. So back to the Iron Blood stance. You steel yourself, preparing resistance for oncoming attacks. Using your muscles to absorb the impact. You gain the benefit of Iron Sweep Parry, a bonus to your AC. And gain resistance from your Iron Blood stance increases by your strength modifier. That's dope. Like that. Like that a lot. Mountain Quake. You stomp and shake the earth beneath you. So this is mountain stance. 20-foot emanation, dealing damage with a fort save. That's pretty good. Like that. So you step on the ground and create a shockwave around you. It's pretty good. Yeah, cling to the dragon's belly. Forget it. I hope he forgets you're there. Yep, that's it. So yeah, Mountain Quake is pretty good. Obviously nothing to do with the mountain stance that is in real life because we don't have superpowers, but that's a cool superpower. Peerless Form. You mastery over the perfect body. You cease to age, though you still die when your time is up. You get +2 to fort saves and will. Nice. Okay, cool. So that's like your ageless form. Poor dragon was just trying to get to the market harassed by a monk. Forced to cause a commotion. Yep. Shadow Web. So this is that clinging shadow thing again. You can launch a wave of shadow key outside of your body, damaging your opponents, potentially binding them in place. Shadow Web. Nice! I love this. This reminds me of Shikamaru from Naruto. Shadows come out, wrap you up. It's a shame it's level 14, though. I mean, I get it. I get why. But 14 is a long way to go before you get that ability. Tangle Forest Rake. You reposition your foes with a raking thing. Make a lashing strike, and if you hit and deal damage, you can reposition the target up to 10 foot. You can move the target through your space during this movement. Nice. So basically, again, you just sort of grab hold and pull people towards and around the place. So that's pretty good. Like that too. Yeah, I'd like to assault people with shadows. That makes sense. Whirling Blade Stance. You enter a mindful stance that deeply connects between you and your monk weapons, allowing you to manipulate them with your ki even at distance. All monk weapons you wield with finesse now have the thrown 10-foot range. Once you've made a thrown strike with such a weapon, you can use the precision of your throw to make additional strikes with it, even from a distance, starting from the space of the previous strike. Ah, so you can ricochet. At the end of your turn, the thrown weapon flies directly back to you in a straight line. If a solid barrier blocks you, it falls to the ground after hitting the barrier. So yeah, so you throw it. Oh my god, you've got a Captain America shield. You throw it at someone, bang, 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 and then after it's done, it flies back to you. Yes! Oh. That is super dope. Although I don't know if a shield counts as a monk weapon, that ability there is really cool. Hands down, super cool. Alright, Wild Wind Gust. You're in the Wild Wind stance. You build air pressure before creating a crescent of wind rushing. Make a wind crash strike against your target 30 foot, 60 foot cone. 30 foot cone or 60 foot line. They count towards multiple attack, but it doesn't increase until after you make all the attacks. Okay, so basically you create a big wind slice attack. Cool. 16th level, Fuse Stance. Combine two stances into a single stance of your own. When taking this feat, two stances combine into a single fused one, giving your new fused stance a unique name. When entering this stance, you gain all the effects of both, including requirements and restrictions. So there you go, Cass. We're talking about multiple stances. At level 16, you can fuse multiple ones. Master of Many Styles, the reflex stance. You can shift stances without a thought. Free actions to enter the stance, I think. When your turn starts, yes. Yeah, when your turn starts, you swap stances. So that's cool. Master Key Spells. You gain Medusa's Wrath, Touch of Death, and another 8th rank key spell. So cool, you get some more. 1 millimeter punch. What the hell is a millimeter punch? Millimeter punch is like that. Yeah. There was through shield throwing in Pathfinder 1, yes. Yes, it was a brawler archetype. It was a brawler archetype for shield throwing in 1st edition. Okay. Your punches have incredible force and control. When you deal damage to a target using a 1-inch punch, you can focus your ki to send the foe flying. If you do, the target must attempt a fort save against your class DC. If they save, they get pushed back 5 foot. Critical save, they are unaffected. Failure, they get pushed back 10. Critical failure, they are 10 foot back for each action you spend on the 1-inch punch. So if you spend all 3, boom! That is 30 foot flying. You know what would be actually funny too is if you actually did have a way to have a 4th action, like if you were quickened and you could like use the 1 punch to add 4 actions to it. I mean, maybe that'd be fun. All right, is that the last one? Yeah, last page. Okay, here we go. Let's smash through it because I gotta go to work in a second. So, Shattering Strike. You bypass target's resistance or hardness if you are hitting them with these 2 action and blow. So that's pretty cool. Shatters objects. Most of the time you won't need to worry about actions for that though, because that'll be really cool. Generally speaking, you could break locks, like or doors. It's an object and stuff. You bypass their resistance and if the hardness if it was half the value. So yeah, halving the hardness of something that you're trying to break into. You do not run low on ammo when it comes to punching things. So that's actually pretty powerful. I like that. Diamond Fist. Your body hardens, making your attacks more damaging. Your unarmed strikes gain forceful and deadly 10. If they already had that one, both of these traits increase the weapon damage dice by 1 step. So Diamond Fist, for me, outdoes the Cobra Strike. Because now everything has deadly 10. So, I mean, yeah. Grandmaster key spells. So you get Embrace the Nothingness, Key Form, and another 9th level key spell. Fantastic. Cool. We get some stuff. Key Centered, a free action. You center yourself with the universe, the vast powers. You cast a single key spell with the stance trait without spending a key focus. Once per minute. So once per minute you get a free key spell stance power. Nice. Swift River. You flow like the river, avoiding all restraints. End 1 penalty to your speed or end a mobility or slow condition affecting you. That's pretty useful. I think that's pretty useful. I wish it would get rid of paralysis though. That would be kind of useful. Or stun. Triangle Shot. 2 actions. You string 3 arrows and fire them all at once, making 3 ranged strikes against a single target. Requiring weapon to use your current mental attack, you take a -2 penalty. No. Each using your multiple attack penalty, and you take an additional -2. This counts as 2 attacks when calculating a multiple attack penalty, and you combine all the attack damages for the purposes of weakness and resistances. Your stunning blow benefits apply to Triangle Shot, even if it isn't a flurry of blows. If all 3 strikes hit, it takes 3d6 persistent bleed damage. Nice! So basically you take 3 shots, they count as taking 2 shots, and as you fire, all of them take a -2 penalty to attack, but if all 3 hit, that is an additional 3d6 persistent bleed damage. So pretty decent, pretty decent. I think that's a good capstone for the archer for sure. Maybe a penetrating one would have been better though. I think maybe like being able to go through someone into another person, maybe? Nah, it's just me. Enduring Quickness, level 20. You move fast and freely like the wind. You're permanently quickened. Fuck, of course, why not? You can use your extra action to stride or leap or to provide one of the actions needed for a high jump or long jump. Okay. Godbreaker. Fuck, what a name. Godbreaker. You have to have Crushing Grab and Whirling Throw. You have mastered the ultimate grappling technique of breaking even the mightiest foes. You hurl a creature 20 foot into the air, following behind it with a powerful jump, then make an unarmed strike. If the strike is successful, you can repeat this process 2 more times, moving the creature an additional 20 foot up in the air with each strike. The creature keeps the grabbed and restrained condition throughout the sequence. If you miss at any of the strikes, the Godbreaker and the grabbed or restrained condition immediately ends, and both you and the opponent fall, taking fall damage as normal for the total height of your jump. If all 3 strikes are successful, you immediately grab the creature and bring it crashing down to the ground, dealing unarmed damage plus falling damage. You land on your feet adjacent to the creature, taking no damage from the fall, and the creature remains grabbed or restrained by you. Fuck you! I see you, you anime-loving motherfuckers. Do not lie to me! I know exactly what the fuck this is. You ready? Hold on. Hold on. I've got 3 more of these things to go, and I've got to run to work. But, you know, I'm going to show this to you. Show the shamelessness of this. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. Now, my green screen will probably cut this out, okay? But this is Naruto, okay? 1, 2, 3, kicking this dude up into the air, right? Initiating all the grapples, and then, and look at him, boom, straight into the ground. Okay, I see you. I fucking, it's exactly what it is. 100%. Without a doubt. It's exactly what it is. And I love it. And you know what sucks? You know what sucks? Is that's at fucking level 20. You kidding me? I want this. I want this power. I want this ability, but I don't want it at level 20. I want it now. That is such a good one. Gonna play Rock Lee? Stop it. Alright. Alright, here we go. Immortal techniques. Master of many styles. You flow into techniques, renewing yourself as you embrace each style you have mastered. First round each that you use a action that has both monk and stance. You gain 20 temporary hit points. Nice! Okay, cool. So when you take on a stance, you gain hit points. Neat. Yeah, at level 20 you finally become a Genin. Yup. Impossible technique. Reaction. An enemy attack hits you, or you fail a saving throw against an enemy ability. You are not armored or fatigued. You execute a maneuver that defies possibility. If the triggering enemy attack was hitting you, the enemy re-rolls the attack and uses the lower result. If the triggering effect was a saving throw, you re-roll it. Nice! So basically you just have a do-over on an attack or a saving throw. Neat. And lastly, Lightning Key. Free action, once per 10 minutes. Key flows within you. A key spell that takes 2 actions has its number reduced, so you can cast it by 1. Nice. Okay, so it makes key use a lot easier. And that is the monk. I reject your reality. So what do we think of the monk? Combat. Yes. All right. Is it good at combat? Yes. Does it improve on what previously the editions had? Yes, absolutely. I think there's way more versatility, way more options, and way more of an ability for you to be able to manipulate combat through much more cinematic and martial terms than you were before. Even the fact that you aren't getting penalized for multiple attack penalties for using maneuvers is a huge thing. And I tell this to people all the time. Creativity is not something that has to be like immediately given to players right out the gate, right? Like sometimes inspiration is all they need to start making their own choices and make their own stories. So giving them stuff like, this is Crane Stance, this is how Crane Stance works, and this is what it is, that's fantastic. And it starts you off in a good place. You're like, cool, I know how Crane Stance works. I'm going to use my Crane Stance, and I'm going to have this really cool imagery of my character as a monk. But then to later on go, you can fuse your styles and come up with something yourself is phenomenal. I love the fact that they are encouraging the players to go, oh, I'm going to use Crane Stance, but then also Viper Stance, combine the two and have the Manticore Stance with the poison tail and the bat-like wings and stuff like that. That's my style. I use Manticore Stance. I love what they've done with this. I think much like I think something about today's episode, something about both the Investigator and the Monk have really stepped forward in terms of focusing on the aesthetic style marrying so nicely to the actual mechanics behind it. So monks, investigators, absolutely 100% have my vote. I love both of them. I think they're going to be a great addition in the remastery. You'll definitely not see me use the investigator from the earlier edition. You may not see me use the monk from the second edition without the remaster, but hands down, they have outdone themselves on these two. And you guys should definitely be checking them out. Bromwell Productions, thank you so much for the follow, you bloody beautiful legend. You, please enjoy your stay here at the Dead Aussie Gamer. Now, that's it, and I'm going to be running late for work, so before I head off, let me share a couple of things with you. First of all, thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for watching. We here at the Dead Aussie Gamer channel always love to promote things like wellness through gaming. Take some time today, go and find someone who you think you haven't caught up with in a while, one of your gaming buddies, one of your players at your tables, your GM, whatever, and go just say hi, see how they are. You know, are they doing good? What's going on in their lives? Take that time and show that love, show that appreciation, because that's what gaming is all about. It's community and bringing us all together and getting to share in these wonderful adventures with everyone. Secondly, do not forget that I will be at Gen Con next week, but at present, we are still a go for Gatewalkers. That is on Sunday night. So Gatewalkers, we are still planning on going ahead. However, in the event that some emergency does happen, so for example, something happens with packing or something, whatever, that is still on the cards because I have an early flight on Monday. I am planning 100% to be well rested and to be all the stuff. So I don't want to give my players or my audience the false things of like, oh yeah, but Dag kind of flaked on us. It's like, no, I'm giving you guys a heads up. I'm going to do everything in my power to make Gatewalkers happen this week. But if it doesn't, bear in mind it is because I have a lot of stuff to take care of, and I am obviously flying off like super early. But yeah. Those at Gen Con, please be sure to come and say hi to me. Remember, the golden rules about Dag is if I am wearing this and not running somewhere, please come say hi. Please come chat. Please introduce yourself. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to get to know you. I am very rarely in the United States, so if you get a chance to, this will be the chance to come and say hi to me. I am super friendly. I love signing things as well. If you bring me things to sign, I try to avoid signing body parts. That's just my nature. And as far as hugs and high fives and things goes, depends on where I'm at in the con. Honestly, I do try to avoid them as best I can, but I am a high fiver for sure. I'm a fist bumper. I'm a handshaker. I do give hugs on occasion. Just depends on the mood. Depends on how well I know you. That's it. That's it. So yeah, come check us out. I'll be doing obviously all the shows with Careful Cantrip, minus one of the panels, I believe. And then I will also be featuring with Dingo Doodles on their recording of the podcast Sands. So go check that out as well. Cool. If I get trapped in Southern Arizona, I will let you know. All right. Okay, buddy. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Let's go and find someone to raid real quick. Who is out and about? Who is doing stuff today? Gonna go and raid. Raiding with a Dag. Oh yeah. Raiding with a Dag. Oh, you know what? This looks like fun. It's a D&D game. The unusual table is designing an NPC. And it looks like a jester. And I am super keen on that, so I'm going to go raid it. Guys, thank you so much for listening. My name is Mike. I'm the Dead the Gamer. This is my place. This is my face. You can find it here a number of times during the week. So, guys, until we meet again, stay safe. Stay wonderful. Be kind to each other because why the fuck not? It's free. And until we meet again, from us to you, game hard or die trying. Bye, folks! Oh, also don't forget to go check me out on Dead Aussie Gamer at Instagram if you want to keep track of my adventures overseas flying and stuff like that. Okay. Love your face. Bye!